The shittiest thing I've ever done in my life. I pulled yesterday. On a lady cop. My wife's about to go into labor. When I said it, my face was more convincing than the truth. 30 years of accumulated acting talent. All of it dumped into one sentence. Just to dodge a $150 fire lane ticket. I checked my phone with surgical timing. I pushed real sweat out of my forehead. My voice came out with a tremor I didn't even fake. Standing there I remember thinking, if I put this kind of energy into my actual job, I'd be a VP by now. She was tall. Skinny. Ponytail pulled back surgical tight. She just stared at me. Eyes like a scalpel. Top of my head down to my shoes. 1 Mississippi. 2. Half a goddamn minute. My heart was coming up my throat. I was 3 seconds from giving up and reaching for my wallet when she sighed. Waved her hand. Get going. Then, don't park in a fire lane next time. I froze for a beat. Then I was nodding like a bobblehead. Thanking her 3 different ways. I climbed back into my Civic and floored it like the cops were chasing me. Which technically they had been. In the rear view she was still standing there. Straight-backed. Like a young birch. I didn't exhale until she shrank to nothing. My palms were soaked. Jesus. That was a rush. Mom was waiting in the living room with a wooden spoon. Jake. What in God's name was that? Peeling out of the lot like the devil's chasing you? I used up to her with my best please don't hit me grin. Ma. Emergency. Life or death. What emergency could you possibly have? Full inspection scan. Top to bottom. You slack off at work. You lay around at home like a dead fish. You can't even land a girlfriend. What's the rush? Here we go. Ma. What's for dinner? Eat. That's all you think about. The spoon caught me on the back. Light enough to be theater. Hard enough to make a point. Then she leaned in close and dropped her voice. Jake. Listen to me. Serious. Auntie Wong found you a girl. My stomach dropped a couple inches. Monthly programming. Right on schedule. Ma. I told you. Hush. Hand up. This one's the real deal. I haven't met her. But Auntie Wong says she's pretty. Easy personality. And most important. She paused. Her eyes went bright. She's got a government job. Full benefits. Pension. You hear me? Stable. The kind of job they can't take away from you. I sighed. Ma. I'm not in her league. Don't tell me what league you're in. She cut me off. You're a nobody at some startup. You're living paycheck to paycheck. She's doing you a favor by showing up. You're going tomorrow. Auntie Wong already texted me the time and the place. You don't show. I break your legs. That look. No room to negotiate. Fine. I said. I'll go. Thunderstorm to sunshine in half a second. She went humming off into the kitchen. I collapsed onto the couch. Stared at the ceiling. A blind date. Another goddamn blind date. Next afternoon I dragged myself through a shower. Put on my cleanest button-up. And drove out to the place. The Jade Room. White tablecloths. Private dining rooms. The kind of place where rich uncles negotiate over tea. Pricey. Auntie Wong had committed to this one. I found the room. 3 deep breaths at the door. I pushed it open. 3 people inside. My mom. Auntie Wong. And a young woman in a light blue dress. Head down. Scrolling her phone. She heard the door. She looked up. The second our eyes met. Time hit a wall. Her phone almost slipped out of her hand. The expression on her face slid through 3 stations, polite blind date smile. Then surprise. Then, and this was the one, something amused. Quietly. Dangerously delighted. All the blood in my body went somewhere else. It was her. The cop from yesterday. The one who'd let me walk. No uniform. Hair down. Brushing her shoulders. Softer everywhere. But those eyes. I'd recognize them in an urn. Mom waved me in at full volume. Jake. Come in. Come in. We've been waiting. This is Sophie. Sophie Shin. Auntie Wang chimed in. Jake. Your mom told you. Right? She's a wonderful girl. I was glued to the doorframe. Couldn't get the corners of my mouth to move. Sophie set her phone down. Carefully. Like she was disarming something. She looked at me. The corner of her mouth started to climb. That smile made the hair on my arm stand up. You're Mr. Jiang. Right? Voice clear. Light. Settling in for a really good show. She let the silence hang. How's the wife? She have the baby yet? She waited. Boy or girl? The room went silent. The smiles on my mom's and Auntie Wang's faces froze. Wife. Mom recovered first. Voice climbing. What wife? Jake. When in the hell did you get married? Auntie Wang was blinking. Sophie. Sweetie. I think you've got the wrong guy. Jake's single. He's never. I just stood there. Hands cold. Feet colder. Like somebody had stripped me naked and shoved me into the middle of 6th Street at peak hour. Social death. That's the term. Sophie wasn't even looking at the older women. Just at me. With this gleaming, mischievous what are you going to do now expression. Like, keep going. I'm enjoying this. There was a 4th person at the table. Middle-aged. Sharp-eyed. Sitting next to Sophie. Had to be the mom. From the second I'd come through the door. She'd been studying me like produce at HEB. Now her brow was nodding up. I took a breath. Brain doing 1,000 miles an hour. In a situation like this, an explanation is just a longer confession. The only move was to walk forward and sit down. I crossed the room and sat. I produced a smile uglier than crying. Ms. Shen. What a coincidence. Mom started to say something. Auntie Wang grabbed her wrist. Sophie raised an eyebrow. Not really. I read your driver's license yesterday. Mr. Jiang. She bit down on the Mr. like it had bones in it. My face was on fire. Yeah. Yeah. Bobblehead was back. Officer Shen. Thanks. For yesterday. For going easy on me. Officer? Mom and Auntie Wang said it in stereo. Their faces went through a second transformation. Even better than the first. From my son got secretly married to my son's been arrested. That was when the other woman finally spoke. Cool voice. Top shelf cool. Sophie. What's going on here? Sophie smiled and lifted her teacup. Nothing. Mom. Just yesterday. On duty. I happened to meet a very responsible young man. The word responsible was carrying a lot of weight. Her eyes flicked at me. The mockery wasn't hidden. Linda, I'd get the name a half second later, wasn't buying it. Her eyes went over me like a pair of awls. Hair. Jaw. Collar. Cheap watch. Down to the discount Nikes I'd been so proud of last year. Then back up. Then back down. Building a dossier. The last stop was the parking lot outside the window. My Civic in a row of glossy SUVs like a stray dog among show poodles. She'd glanced out there when I came in. She'd already drawn her conclusions. You're Jake? I sat up straight. Yes. Ma'am. Nice to meet you. Sound out of her nose that wasn't quite a word. Auntie Wong says you work in the private sector? Yes. Ma'am. What kind of company? Doing what? Tech startup. I'm a product manager. How much do you make a month? There it was. Classic blind date opener. My scalp went hot. Without bonuses. After taxes. A little over 5,500. The silence had weight. My mom and Auntie Wong got the look like they'd just stepped in something. Linda's lip curled. The contempt didn't even make it past the front door. A little over 5,500, she said slowly. In Austin. That'll keep you in ramen. I guess. To support a family? That's tight. Jake. Real tight. My gut clenched. This dinner was going to require armor. Mom jumped in. Oh. You know. He's young. He's got room to grow. She was practically writing humble across her own forehead. Linda didn't acknowledge her. Eyes still on me. Jake. House? Yes. Ma'am. Mortgaged. Car? That one in the lot. Yes. Ma'am. My 5-year-old Civic. Sitting out there in the heat shimmer like Exhibit A. Linda nodded slowly. Lifted her tea. Small sip. Set the cup down with surgeon's precision. She turned to Sophie. Voice pitched for the whole table. Sophie. You know what I want for you. The job doesn't have to make you rich. But it has to be stable. House and car aren't optional. I'm not letting you carry someone else's mortgage. Our family isn't fancy. But you never went without. You don't start now. Each sentence was a paring knife. Not deep. Just deep enough to draw blood every time. My mom's face had gone the color of cooked beets. Auntie Wong was making panicked little eye signals across the table that Linda was studiously ignoring. Under the tablecloth. My hand was a fist. That was when Sophie spoke up. Mom. Quiet. But it sliced through. Jake's all right. Linda's head snapped around. All right? How is he all right? Sophie looked at me. The corner of her mouth did its thing again. He cared about his wife and child so much. He was willing to lie to a cop. Isn't that a man with priorities? I closed my eyes for a second. Would have crawled under the table if I could fit. Not help. Salt in the wound. With chili powder for flavor. Linda went a few shades darker. Sophie. Stop it. A man who'll spin a story like that. Who'll lie to a police officer. Is not a man with priorities. He's a man with no limits. What else won't he do? It was about to escalate. I cleared my throat. If I stayed quiet now, I'd be the punchline of the whole afternoon. I looked at Linda. Made my face as sincere as I knew how. Mrs. Shin. You're right. Lying was wrong of me. I owe you and Officer Shin an apology. Plain words. Eye contact. Linda's jaw unclenched a fraction. But about supporting a family on what I make. I'd like to push back on that. A little. Linda raised her eyebrows. Oh? Go ahead. Every face at the table swiveled toward me. My mom looked like she'd just bet the house on a pony. Auntie Wong's hand was white on her teacup. Linda was wearing the let's see what you've got expression. Sophie was still in her box seats. I steadied myself. Mrs. Shin. With respect. Calling 5,500 a month tight for a family isn't the whole picture. Not the whole picture. She actually laughed. Jake. I have eaten more salt than you have eaten rice. At your age. What do you know about running a household? Groceries. Gas. Gifts at every wedding. Diapers. Tutoring. Summer camps. Every line item costs money. So please. Enlighten me. I nodded. Everything you said is true. But you're leaving out the most important variable. Which is Sophie's income. I turned to her. Sophie blinked. Officer Shen has a stable government job. Steady pay. Pension. Together. The two of us would be solidly upper middle class in this city. 2 incomes on a mortgage means lower stress on either of us. We're not in 1962 anymore. Mrs. Shen. One person doesn't carry a household. A modern marriage is a partnership. 2 strong players. Complementary resources. Don't you think? Linda was. Briefly. Speechless. She'd assumed I'd shrink under the heat. Instead, I was over here doing arithmetic. She found her footing. But I'd seen the wobble. Sounds nice. Partnership. Dual income. Tell me. Jake, what exactly are you bringing to this so-called partnership? That car? That job that could disappear next quarter? Swinging hard now. My mom inhaled to fire back. I caught her eye and shook my head. An inch. I smiled. Easy. Mrs. Shen. A car is a tool that gets you from A to B. Mine costs $5,000. A Tesla costs $80,000. They both get me to work. As for the job, you're right. The private sector doesn't have public sector security. But risk and reward are correlated. My company closed our Series B last year. We're growing. My salary's gone up every year. 5 years from now, I will not necessarily be doing worse than someone with a pension. Probably the opposite. Every word of it was true. Linda wasn't buying. 5 years from now is 5 years from now. I'm looking at right now. And right now. You are not on her level. Tablecloth off. Knives out. Temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Auntie Wong was sweating. Linda. Honey. Let's let the kids talk. My mom was vibrating. Now you listen here. Don't now you listen hear me. Linda snapped. I haven't agreed to anything yet. This dinner derailing in real time. Time to bring out something real. I looked at Linda. Voice level. Mrs. Shen. You think I'm not on Sophie's level. That comes down to material conditions. Fair enough. But you might be missing one thing. Which is? The reason you care so much about material conditions is that you want your daughter secure. Happy. Yes? Linda paused. Nodded. Almost reflex. Of course. Have you ever asked yourself what happiness actually is? She frowned. Don't get philosophical with me. Jake. Happiness is money in the bank. A roof. Not lying awake wondering how to pay for groceries. Beautifully put. I almost clapped. Didn't. So who, in your view, can reliably generate the kind of resources that produce that stability? Capable people. Linda said. Reflex again. Right. I snapped my fingers. So let's review the last 30 minutes. I walked into this room. You x-rayed my career. My income. My car. My apartment. By every metric you brought to this table. I'm a disaster. Right? Linda didn't answer. Which was its own answer. And yet. Here I am. Still in the room. Still talking. At significant disadvantage. I have addressed your concerns one by one. With respect. Mrs. Shen, I'm holding my own against a much more senior negotiator. I let it sit. Wealth is a stock. It rises. Falls. Gets taxed. Gets divorced. But mental flexibility. The ability to think under pressure. The ability to construct an argument, those compound. You really believe a young man who can hold his own at this table? Against you. For 30 minutes. Is going to underperform over the next decade? The room went so quiet I could hear the AC cycling. Linda's mouth was open just slightly. She was looking at me the way you look at a stranger who just turned out to know your name. My mom had gone still. Auntie Wang was actively forgetting to breathe. Probably nobody at that table thought the kid who couldn't get a girlfriend had this kind of run in him. And Sophie. For the first time. The smirk was gone. What was in her eyes now was different. Brighter. It looked. If I'm being honest. Like interest. It took Linda a long moment to find her voice. When she did. She gave me a sniff. The bite was still there. The conviction wasn't. Slick mouth. Slick mouths are cheap. I knew right then I'd won the first round. Taken back ground. I didn't press. Too many guys lose by trying to twist the knife. I picked up the menu. Mrs. Shen. Mom. Auntie Wang. Officer Shen. We've all done enough talking. Let's eat. My treat. I held the menu out to Linda with both hands. Deferential. She hesitated. Took it. I'd survived the opening of the ambush. Linda had no intention of standing down. She flipped past beef and noodles. Straight to the back. Where the prices had commas. Fingertip tapped on Maine lobster. Then Chilean sea bass. She looked up. Half a smile. Jake. The chef's specials aren't cheap. You sure you can swing it? Bald-faced provocation. My mom's face dropped again. I shot her a look. Easy. I gave Linda my warmest smile. Mrs. Shen. It's an honor to host you. My mother. Auntie Wang. And Officer Shen. The bill isn't important. What's important is that everyone enjoys the meal. Whatever you and Officer Shen want. Please, order it. The more gracious I got. The more it ate at her. Like I wasn't spending money. I was spending hers. She huffed. Slid the menu to Sophie. Sophie. You order. Let's see if certain people are bluffing. Sophie's brows tightened. Done. She didn't even open the menu. Just looked at the server. Sour cabbage fish. Kung Pao chicken. 3 treasure stir fry. Tomato egg soup. Steamed white rice. 5 homestyle dishes. The total didn't even sniff the lobster. Linda's face went through a small earthquake. Sophie. What are you doing? They've got lobster. Sea bass. And you order that? You want Mr. Jiang to think we don't know what classy looks like? Sophie set down her teacup. Voice flat. Calm. Mom. I like these dishes. We eat them at home. I think they're plenty classy. Slap. Right across Linda's face. Without anyone touching anyone. Linda was making fish mouth. Internal high five for Sophie. The girl had a spine. I jumped in. To the server, yes. Please. Everything Officer Shen ordered. And one more thing. I paused. Looked at Linda. Mrs. Shen. Anything you don't eat? Handing the floor back. With ribbon. Linda swallowed. I don't do spicy. No cilantro. Got it. Back to the server. Add the whole Peking duck. Mrs. Shen's portion plated separately. No cilantro. The server nodded. Linda's eyebrows climbed. The Peking duck was the price ceiling. North of the lobster. North of the sea bass. My mom and Auntie Wang went a little slack-jawed. Even Sophie did a small double take. Linda's face was working through about 4 reactions at once. shock, skepticism, and, somewhere underneath, something uncomfortably like satisfaction. Probably. In her head, I'd finally done one thing worthy of her daughter. Even if it was just opening my wallet. I ignored their faces. Voice steady. Officer Shin ordered what she likes. The food we eat at home. I ordered the duck out of respect for an elder. The two don't cancel each other out. It's one meal. People can spend modestly or spend big. What matters is the intention. Not the price tag. Wouldn't you agree? Mrs. Shen? Watertight. I'd taken care of Sophie. Flattered Linda. Lifted the whole conversation a floor or two above the price war. Linda went quiet. She'd probably never run into a kid like me. One who refused to play her game but wouldn't insult her either. She wanted to swing back. Couldn't find anything to swing at. I'd just ordered the most expensive thing on the menu in her honor. What was she going to do? Complain I was being too generous? That would be slapping herself. In the end she gave a snort through her nose. White flag. The menu battle. For now. Was over. The food came fast. Homestyle dishes steaming. The duck arrived with ceremony, chef wheeled it out. Sliced it tableside. Skin lacquered to a deep mahogany. The room unclenched. A little. My mom and Auntie Wong started up small talk. I kept Linda's and Sophie's teacups full. Linda stayed sour but stopped reaching for new fights. The peace lasted as long as the first 3 dishes. Halfway through the meal, Linda set down her chopsticks. Dabbed her lips. Cleared her throat. Sophie. Eyes on her daughter. Volume set for the table. Auntie Lee called again the other day. Says her nephew's just back from grad school overseas. Attending physician now. UT Health. Early 30s. Very presentable. His parents bought him a condo downtown, paid in full. Drives a BMW 5 Series. She wants to know when you've got time to grab coffee with him. Compare and contrast. Right on cue. I laughed inside. Outside. Kept eating. My mom and Auntie Wong's smiles froze again. Sophie's eyebrows pinched. Mom. I told you. I'm not interested in meeting anybody else right now. What's the harm in coffee? Linda's volume climbed. Good to know people. A doctor, that's a real career. Respectable. Stable. That's somebody on your level. She leaned on your level like she was nailing it down. Then she glanced at me. The message couldn't have been clearer if she'd stenciled it on the wall. And what are you? Exactly? My mom was strangling her chopsticks. I patted her knee under the table. Hold. You don't beat a Linda by being a Linda. You just look exactly as small as she'd already decided you were. You beat a Linda with your brain. Sophie was past her limit. Mom. Could you stop? If you like him so much, you go marry him. Listen to yourself. Linda's face went red. Who am I doing this for? You. I raised you. I'm trying to find you a good home. And what's my reward? You bring me this? She pointed at me without looking. A liar with a smooth mouth. A no-name kid at some startup. Driving a beater. You stay with him. You'll be eating bitterness the rest of your life. Just throwing punches now. I set down my chopsticks. Patted my lips. Looked up at Linda. The smile I gave her was warm. Almost tender. Mrs. Shin. You're absolutely right about the doctor. Career. Family money. The whole package. He's better positioned than I am. By a country mile. If I were in your shoes, I'd be pushing for him too. The whole table snapped to look at me. Nobody had expected me to agree. Linda's mouth was halfway open. Well. As long as you understand. But, Mrs. Shin, have you ever stopped to ask one question? Which is a man that accomplished. Early 30s. Why does he still need to be set up on blind dates? The question hit the table like a stone in still water. Watched the ring spread. Linda's expression locked. She opened her mouth. Closed it. Tried again. Took her a few seconds to find her voice. He's busy. He's a doctor. They don't have time to date. Ah. Busy. I nodded. Sympathetic. Then the pivot. And after he's married? Will he suddenly not be busy? 100-hour weeks? Will he have time to come home for dinner? Time to take his kids to soccer practice? Time to actually be present in his marriage? Or will his wife be the one raising the kids alone? Running the household alone? Sitting in that downtown condo alone? Eating takeout in front of the TV by herself most nights? Let it breathe. Is that the happy life you want for Officer Shin? 3 rhetorical questions. Each with its own blade. Linda's color shifted. Red to white to a kind of ashy green. Almost beautiful to watch. You're twisting my words. I'm not twisting anything. Mrs. Shin. I'm walking through the logic. Hands up. Innocent. You care about material conditions. Fine. Nothing wrong with that. But somewhere along the way, you started treating marriage as a straight commodity exchange. You'd trade your daughter for somebody's apartment. Somebody's car. Somebody's title. And in that exchange you forgot one variable. Which one? Through her teeth. Feeling. I said it gently. You forgot to ask Sophie what she wants. You also forgot to ask why this doctor, with all those advantages, is still being set up by his mom. Is he actually looking for a partner? Or just trying to get his family off his back? A marriage with no feeling in it, only net worth, that's a beach house on a sandbar. Looks beautiful. One wave. Gone. I picked up my teacup. Took a sip. You could have heard a soup spoon hit the floor in Travis County. My mom and Auntie Wong were past shocked. Spectating. They'd probably never seen a blind date turn into a TED Talk. Linda was staring me down. Chest rising and falling. She wanted to hit back. Couldn't find a hole. The life experience she'd been so proud of an hour ago was suddenly looking thin. Sophie's head was down. I couldn't see her face. But the hand she'd left on the table, her fingers were trembling. A little. Nobody was eating after that. The meal limped to its end in a thick, suffocating quiet. When the check came, the second war started. I picked up the leather folder and stood. Hold on. Linda. Sweet on top. Vinegar underneath. Jake. This dinner can't have been cheap. Let me see. She craned her neck. $340. My. About a fifth of your take-home for the month. Isn't it? You really shouldn't have. She wasn't even hiding the schadenfreude. I smiled. It's nothing. Mrs. Shin. My pleasure. Sophie stood up. I've got it. She was already pulling out her phone to pay. I put my hand up. No. I said it's on me. It's a principal thing. Sophie looked at me. Something complicated in her eyes. You don't have to. I know. I said. But it's a man's pride. Linda watched from the side. The corner of her mouth was twisted. Fine. Sophie. Let him pay. Mr. Jiang has the capacity to generate wealth. $300 is nothing to him. She was throwing my own words back at me. Dressed up in air quotes. I ignored her. Tapped my card. Done. We walked out into the night. Street lights coming on. The breeze hit and sobered everybody up a few degrees. Now, how do we get home? My place and my mom's place were in the opposite direction from Sophie's. Auntie Wang had already had the good sense to grab her own Uber and disappear. My mom looked at me. The look meant you're driving me. Linda didn't even glance at the Civic parked at the curb. She turned to Sophie. Sophie. We'll get a car. Don't bother Mr. Jiang. I'm not sure I'd be comfortable in that thing of his. She wasn't even bothering to disguise the contempt anymore. My mom's temperature shot straight up. Excuse me? What's wrong with my son's car? Who do you think you are? You want a Rolls-Royce? Go buy your own. The two moms about to throw down on the sidewalk. Sophie rubbed her temples. Exhausted. Mom. Please. Stop. I sighed. Stepped forward. Mrs. Shen. You're right. My car's small. A rideshare's roomier. You and Officer Shen have had a long day. You should ride home in comfort. I pulled out my phone. Opened Uber. Skipped UberX. Tapped straight into Uber Black. Selected a black Audi A6. Tap. Confirm. A driver picked up almost immediately. I turned the screen toward Linda. Mrs. Shen. 5 minutes. You and Officer Shen can wait at the door. The whole sequence. Smooth as glass. All three women went quiet. Linda was looking at the Uber Black icon with one of the more interesting expressions I'd seen on her face all night. She probably couldn't compute it. A kid who drove a beat-up Civic. Dropping $70 to send the future mother-in-law who'd just spent 2 hours abusing him home in a luxury car. What an idiot. Right? Sophie was looking at me. The light in her eyes was brighter now. Her mouth opened. Closed. Nothing came out. My mom looked stricken. Jake. You. I shook my head. Ma. It's fine. Mrs. Shen and Officer Shen getting home safe and comfortable is what matters. Very dignified. What I was actually thinking, $70 for some peace. Plus another flex. Bargain. The black Audi pulled up smooth. The driver got out. Opened the rear door with full chauffeur-grade deference. I gestured. After you. Mrs. Shen. Officer Shen. Your ride. Linda's face was cycling colors. She wanted to refuse. But she couldn't find a reason. What was she going to say? That she didn't deserve a nice car? She got in stiff. Silent. Jaw set. Sophie paused before climbing in. She gave me a long look. Apology in it. Fatigue. And something I couldn't quite read. She said. Quietly. Thank you. For tonight. Then she got in. The car pulled away smooth. I stood at the curb watching the taillights shrink. Long exhale. My mom came up and patted my arm. Jake. I'm sorry. That was rough. I smiled. Ma. It's fine. Just tired. Let's go home. I climbed into my beater and was about to start the engine. My phone buzzed. WhatsApp. From Sophie. One sentence. I'm sorry. Also, you looked good tonight. I stared at the screen for a solid 10 seconds. My heart had no shame at all. Hammering away. The exhaustion vanished. In its place. This stupid. Giddy thing I couldn't quite name. 2 hours of swordplay. Of swallowed humiliation, for those 9 words. All of it was worth it. My mom leaned over from the passenger seat. Who is it? That girl? You're grinning like an idiot. I shut the phone away. Cleared my throat. Nobody. Spam. Buckle up. Going home. I started the car. The familiar. Slightly tired growl. Sounded like music to me right then. On the drive home my mom sighed all the way. Jake. I think this one's done. Her mother is not a normal person. Nose in the air. Every word with a knife in it. Our family's not flashy. But we're not for somebody to step on. This girl, let's just drop it. We don't need this. She was genuinely furious. I drove and tried to talk her down. Ma. Come on. Don't waste your blood pressure on someone like that. The girl's all right. Isn't she? What? She turned to look at me. Surprised. You still think she's all right? Look at her mother. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Jake. Not necessarily. I shook my head. I think Sophie and her mom are completely different people. She's clear-eyed. Independent. She's just been steamrolled by her mother. Look at her tonight, she was on my side the whole time. She pushed back. Mom thought about it. Nodded. That's true. The girl seemed decent. Just. God. What a mother. Bad luck. So. I said. There's still a play here. Your son might have looked like he was on his back foot tonight. But I didn't take a single wrong step. Just watch. The confidence got me a sideways look. Don't tell me you're under that woman's spell. Fine. Your business. But if you take another round of that abuse, your mother is not signing off. Got it. I dropped Mom off and drove home to my one-bedroom. I collapsed on the couch and pulled the phone back out. I'd been smiling at Sophie's text for half an hour. How to reply? I thought about it. Tapped out. No worries. Your mom cares about her daughter. That's understandable. Send. Magnanimous. Mature. Then a second message. So, boy or girl? Send. Funny. Builds rapport. Genius. Jake. She replied fast. A rolling on the floor laughing emoji. Then, twins. Boy and girl. Happy now? I laughed out loud. Hell yeah. One of each. Living the dream. Hey, got the Uber charge? I'll Venmo you. I just remembered I hadn't paid her back for the ride. She sent a screenshot. Uber receipt. Already paid. Underneath, this one's on me. Call it an apology. Nope. I shot back. I said it's on me. You're not paying. And you didn't do anything wrong. If anyone owes an apology, it's me. For lying to a sworn officer of the law. We went back and forth over $70. It was about money on paper. The vibe was something else entirely. It was a strange feeling. We'd known each other for 2 encounters. Both of them disasters. And here we were. Texting like old friends. Loose. A little flirty around the edges. We were rolling. Then she sent. My mom's home. A long silence after that. Several minutes. I could picture the storm on the other end. Didn't push. Just waited. About 10 minutes later her message popped up. We just had a screaming match. My stomach tightened. You okay? Fine. Standard issue. Her tone read tired. She tore me apart head to toe. Said I'm a traitor. Don't know what's good for me. Then she dropped an ultimatum. What ultimatum? She already booked the doctor. Saturday. Same restaurant. Same private room. Mandatory attendance. She wants me to see what quality husband material actually looks like. To prove how ridiculous my taste is. I read it twice. My eyes narrowed. This Linda Shin. Did not let things go. A public execution. Death by humiliation. I could feel the rage coming off her texts. I sat with it for a second. Then typed. What are you thinking? I don't want to go. But if I don't, she'll show up at my precinct and make a scene. She's done it before. She'll do it again. I got it. People like Linda. The control didn't have an off switch. And Sophie was both her daughter and a public servant. Couldn't exactly punch back. So you're going. Another long silence. Then. Jake. First time she'd used my name flat like that. You free Saturday? I read it. Smiled. I knew what was coming. Free. I typed. What do you need me to do? Her reply had a glint in it. A little revenge in the syntax. I need you to act again. But this time. You're not the husband-to-be of a woman about to give birth. This time you're my boyfriend. I stared at the words. My boyfriend. My heart took one solid hit. Then the blood started moving fast. Boyfriend, 3 syllables that turned me from defendant to general going to war. The kind of princess hands the sword to herself. I took a breath. Tamped the grin down. Fingers flying. Honored to serve. My lady. Sent a little bowing emoji. Joke aside. Time to be serious. Okay. What's the plan? Saturday. Same restaurant. Same private room, she typed. Fast. Mom shows up with the doctor. I tell her you're my boyfriend. We came together. That's it? That's it. What do you think her face is going to look like when she sees us walk in holding hands? She sent a smiling face with horns. I could imagine. Linda's face was going to be darker than the bottom of a wok. Pull the plug from underneath. Kill the legitimacy of the date at the source. Your daughter has a boyfriend. There's nothing to set up. Solid plan. I wrote. But details matter. We need to get our story straight. How'd we meet? When did this start? If your mom interrogates and our stories don't line up, we're dead. Good point. What do you think? I scratched my chin. Got an idea. Tell her, you fell for me at first sight while you were on duty. Pulled me over and demanded my number. I refused at first. But you wore me down with the sheer force of your devotion. I succumbed. Romantic enough? Half a minute of silence. Then a row of dots. Jake. Do you actually think you're funny? You don't? No. With that version. My mom will assume I'm either blind or under a curse. Fine. Your version. The truth, she said. The truth? Yes. You parked illegally. To dodge the ticket you lied about your wife being in labor. I let you off. We met again at a blind date. I thought you were a mess, but the way you lied was kind of cute. So I gave you a chance. Turns out you're a little broke. A little ugly. And your mouth needs a filter. But otherwise, kind of okay. So we're together. I read the whole thing back twice. Hey. Personal attacks. Broke. Ugly. No filter? Where's the filter problem? You're a walking filter problem. Okay. Fine. I conceded. But isn't this version a little honest? You're putting every single one of your mother's least favorite traits right on the table. Aren't you basically loading her gun for her? That's the point. Sophie wrote back. There was something burned bridges in the voice of it. I want her to know I do not care about her so-called criteria. What I like is a guy who'll lie to my face. Who drives a beater? Who works at a startup? And who'll talk back to her? I want her sense of superiority to have nowhere to land. I want to make her crazy. I could practically see her jaw clenched on the other end of the screen. This girl had been pushed all the way to the wall. Even rabbits bite when cornered. And Sophie was no rabbit. Done. I wrote. I love this script. Nasty. Authentic. So we're officially together? Yes. Since when? I don't know. Today? No. I typed back immediately. We just met today. We can't get together today. That's too fast. Your mom will smell a setup. When then? Since the blind date. After dinner you texted me. Right? We've been talking for a few days. We hit it off. Last night I made it official. You said yes. Clean timeline. Plausible. Good. That works. How are we playing it on Saturday? Natural. Like a real couple. You handle looking gorgeous and clinging to my arm. The rest is on me. You sure about that? Skeptical. You're up against an attending at UT Health. Series 5 Beamer. Downtown condo paid for by mommy. What are you bringing, your mouth? Of course not. I let it sound smug. Sun Tzu, attack the mind. Not the city. With your mom. You can never outspend her. With the doctor, I have ideas. He's going to bow out himself. Politely. Bullshit. A face with rolling eyes. See you Saturday. Hey. As your boyfriend. Should I bring a gift? First time meeting the parents officially. Don't want to show up empty-handed. No. Don't waste money. It's manners. And it's part of the plan. What do you want? I'll get it for you. I don't want anything. Then your mom? She'll never accept it. Then, the doctor? Sophie? Are you out of your mind? Why would you give him a gift? To stake a claim. I typed it like it was obvious. Picture it. He's sitting there with your mom waiting for the date. You walk in holding my arm. I cross the room with a smile. Stick out my hand. Dr. Gao? Pleasure to finally meet. I'm Jake. Sophie's boyfriend. Just a little something you really shouldn't have. But I had to. Then I hand him a gift. What do you imagine his face does? She went silent. A while later, ha 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 ha. Jake. You are something else. That is evil. That is psychological warfare. Of course. Smug grin. So. What do I get him? Has to read as goodwill. Has to make him want to die a little. I thought about it. How about a world's best sport trophy? From the dollar store. A whole string of laughing voice notes came through. The kind where she clearly couldn't keep it together. Jake. Be serious. I am serious. Picture him. Hotshot young attending. Receives a trophy. From his romantic rival. He can't display it. He can't throw it out. The psychological damage is full bar. Stop. Stop. When she finally caught her breath, don't bring anything. Just bring yourself. And that mouth of yours. Yes, ma'am. I quit while I was ahead. See you Saturday. Girlfriend. See you Saturday. Boyfriend. I tossed the phone aside and starfished out on the bed. My mood wanted to launch. What do you call this? Storybook. A few days ago I was sweating a parking ticket. Now not only was the ticket gone. I'd somehow acquired a beautiful traffic cop girlfriend. Temporarily. Life. You want a little drama in it. That's the point. The next few days I was suspiciously productive. Days at the office. Scrolling at my desk, but instead of fiction I was reading articles. How to handle an alpha mother-in-law. How to dominate when meeting a romantic rival. Most of it was dorm room theory. But the volume of it built up some kind of confidence. Nights. Sophie and I texted like a real couple. Work. Life. Movies. Food. We compared notes and were a little surprised at the overlap. We both loved old Hong Kong movies. We listened to the same indie band almost nobody else listened to. We even hated the same vegetable. Cilantro. It was nudging us along faster in the digital world than either of us had bargained for. Some nights. Late. I'd catch myself with the strange feeling that we'd actually been together a long time. Not strangers running a con on her mother. Friday night. Last call before the show. Nervous? I asked her. A little. Her voice on the line was tired. Mom spent all day pumping up Dr. Gao. Apparently he hung the moon. Attending physician at 32. Stack of publications. Looks like. Quote. Daniel Henney. Oh? My eyebrows went up. Better looking than me? Nope. She didn't even pause. Then she laughed at herself. You. The skin on your face. It's industrial grade. Thanks for the compliment. I said. Don't worry. I've got tomorrow handled. Remember the framing, you're the queen. I'm the knight. We're going there to receive tribute. Not to be judged. She sounded a little lighter. Hey. What are you wearing tomorrow? The blind date outfit? No. Instant veto. Too casual. Tomorrow's a big stage. You need something sharper. I don't really own sharp. My closet was t-shirts. Jeans. A few wrinkled button-ups. The one suit I owned was from college graduation and didn't fit anymore. Where are you right now? Home. Send me your address. Why? Don't ask. Send. Not a request. I sent it. Half an hour later the doorbell rang. A courier. Holding a big paper bag. I opened it. A whole new outfit. Heavy charcoal gray button-down. Tailored black slacks. Polished black dress shoes. The belt and the socks were in there too. I just stood there. Sophie's text came through. You get it? Try it on. See if it fits. Sophie. I used your height and weight from the license. Should be close. You really didn't. I didn't know what to type. There was something warm and full sitting in my chest. Crowded in there. Stop talking. Go try it. Do not embarrass me tomorrow. The voice in the text had this bossy tenderness to it. I took the outfit into the bedroom and put it on. Stepped in front of the mirror. The guy in the mirror looked like a stranger. Clothes do work on a person. I'll be damned. I looked sharper. Less of the slouchy guy. More of someone you'd take seriously. I snapped a photo and sent it. Reporting in. Your Majesty. Knight is suited up. She came back fast. Hot. A blushing emoji. Saturday. Game day. I was up early. Shower. Shave. A little product in the hair. The cleanest part I'd had in years. Slid into the armor Sophie had bought me. Stared at the mirror. One deep breath. Jake. You're not playing a boyfriend. You're playing yourself. The guy worth taking a chance on. Drove the Civic. Got to the Jade Room half an hour early. Parked it in a back corner of the lot. Tucked out of sight. Didn't go in. Waited at the door. A few minutes later. Sophie came around the corner. She dressed up too. A long cream dress. A camel-colored trench over it. Hair softly waved. Makeup light. Careful. She looked warm and intelligent at once. Different from the sundress girl across the table the first time. Different from the hard-eyed cop with the ponytail. Today she was the kind of beautiful that hits you in the chest. She came up to me, looked me over, nodded. Satisfied. Not bad. My investment paid off. I smiled. You too. You look amazing. The compliment got me a little color in her cheeks. She hooked her arm through mine. Easy. Like she'd done it 100 times. The arm under the trench was warm. I could feel her body heat through the fabric. My heart skipped. Ready? She asked. A little nerves in it. Ready. I patted her hand. Steady eyes. Let's go meet Dr. Daniel Henney. We walked in side by side. Like a real couple. Heads up. Toward our private room. I pushed the door open. The second it swung back, every sound in the world cut out. Every set of eyes in the room locked onto us, more specifically. Onto our linked arms. 2 people at the table. Linda. And a man I didn't know. Linda had been wearing a big hostess smile. The instant she clocked us, the smile cracked like cheap drywall and fell off her face. What was left was iron gray. Shocked. Furious. Her mouth was open. Her finger was pointed at us. No words coming. You too. The other one had to be Dr. Marcus Gow. I'll give Linda this much. Her taste was real. The guy was sharp. Tailored sport coat. Wireframe glasses. An expression that had been trained somewhere expensive. A small, well-managed smile. He did fit the quality husband material profile. He'd seen us too. His smile froze for half a second. Then it came back. Smoother. But there was a new alertness in his eyes. Reading the room. The atmosphere was so awkward you could have curled it up in your toes. Time for the leading man to break the ice. I did not look at Linda's death stare. I came in beaming. I led Sophie across the room in long, easy strides. Stopped at Dr. Gow. Stuck out my hand. You must be Dr. Gow? Marcus. Right? Pleasure. Heard great things. He paused for a beat. Manners did the rest. He stood up and shook. His hand was clean. Nails immaculate. Hi. Marcus Gow. His voice matched the rest. Polished. Mild. Jake Jiang. I gave the handshake an extra warm pump. I'm Sophie's boyfriend. I leaned a little weight on boyfriend. Right on cue. Marcus's pupils contracted. Just barely. He glanced at Sophie. She gave him a polite little nod. Confirmed. The smile finally cracked. And Linda, the moment the word boyfriend registered, she detonated. Boyfriend? Her voice could have cut glass. Sophie. You explain yourself. What is going on? How is he your boyfriend? Sophie let go of my arm. Met her mother's stare. Calmer than I'd seen her. Mom. It is what it looks like. Jake's my boyfriend. We're together. Together? Linda was vibrating. Since when? Why don't I know? Since after the blind date. Sophie said. We figured out we fit. So we're together. Fit? Linda heard it like a punchline. She jabbed a finger at me. Him? A liar? A broke kid? How is he anywhere near Marcus? Are you blind? Ugly stuff. I felt Marcus wince beside her. I didn't get angry. I smiled. I turned to him with my best apologetic face. Marcus. I'm sorry. You walked into the middle of this. Mrs. Shin cares about her daughter. She speaks her mind. Don't take it personally. Watertight. I'd installed myself as the host. I'd quietly relocated him to guest. I'd apologized on Linda's behalf. Which boxed her in. Marcus was sharp. He picked up on it instantly. Pushed his glasses up. Mild smile. Of course. Mrs. Shin wants the best for her daughter. He called her Ms. Shin. I called her Sophie. The hierarchy wrote itself. Let's all sit. I waved everyone in like the man of the house. Pulled out Sophie's chair first. Sat down beside her. The whole sequence, clean. Like I'd been rehearsing it for a month. Linda was speechless. Just glaring. 4 people. 1 table. The atmosphere was a hostage situation. Marcus broke the silence first. He looked at me. A little curiosity in it. What line of work are you in? Jake? Standard cocktail party probe. Also a feeler. Nothing fancy. I gave him modest. Internet company. Product side. Tech hot industry. He nodded. Competitive too. The hours must be brutal. They are. I said. Lot of late nights. Hairline's taken a hit. Not like you. Marcus, saving lives. Respected. Stable schedule. I tossed him the high ground on purpose. Linda's color came back a little. She jumped on it. Of course. Our Marcus made attending at 32. Youngest in his department. The man's going places. Our Marcus. Like he was already in the family photo. Marcus did the modest smile. You're too kind. My mentors deserve most of it. I watched the duet. This was what I'd been waiting for. I turned to him with my best impressed face. Attending? That's incredible. Marcus. You're basically a hero of mine. Actually, could I ask you a question? I've been wanting to put it to a real expert. Maximum humility. Impossible to refuse. He clearly enjoyed being looked up to. Magnanimous wave. Of course. Jake. Go ahead. Right. I nodded. Cleared my throat. Then, earnest. Faintly puzzled. Marcus. Someone with your resume, why are you doing the matchmaker circuit? The question went into the room like a needle. It punctured the quality husband material balloon Linda had been inflating all night. The air froze. Linda's smug face seized up. She glared at me, eyes like knives. Who do you think you are? Questioning him? Sophie's head was down. Her shoulders were shaking. Very faintly. She was holding back a laugh. Bet on it. And Marcus, the man I'd just elevated to hero, finally lost the smile a notch. He pushed his glasses up. Behind the lenses. Something sharper flickered. A defensive posture. Which meant my question had landed. A few seconds passed. Marcus cleared his throat. Came back smooth. You flatter me. Jake. I don't think of myself as exceptional. I just try to do good work. Self-deprecating. Set the bar low. Smart move. As for the matchmaking. He paused. Glanced at Linda. Glanced at Sophie. Partly my parents, they were anxious. Partly my social circle is small. The hours don't leave much room to meet people. I figured I'd give this a try. See if I'd run into someone. Airtight. Filial son. Workaholic with his heart in the right place. Nothing to attack. Linda lit up. See? See? She turned the gun on me. You hear that? Jake? Marcus is busy and respects his parents. Some people just lay around all day running their mouth. I didn't acknowledge her. Eyes locked on Marcus. I nodded. Slow realization on my face. I see. So you really are a good son. And a hard worker. Confirmed his framing back to him. Then the pivot. But I do have one more question. His eyelid twitched. He probably hadn't expected me to keep going after Linda's broadside. Go ahead. The smoothness was thinner now. A note of caution underneath. I looked at Sophie. Loaded my eyes with affection and concern. Sophie's the kind of person who needs companionship. Her job is hard too. She needs someone who'll be present. Someone who'll take care of her. If you got married, Marcus, and you stayed all in on work the way you are now, wouldn't she be pretty lonely? I turned back to him. Sincere face. Have you thought about that? Are you looking for a wife? Or are you looking for someone to take care of your parents? Run your house? Raise your kids, and not need any of your time? Because that second one has a name. It's called a free housekeeper. Surgical knife. Right through the standard answer and into the cold reality underneath it. Marcus's color finally moved. The smile was gone now. What replaced it was a contained, well-trained anger. Jake. What exactly are you suggesting? His voice cooled. I'm looking for a partner. You're impugning my character. Not at all. Not at all. I waved my hands. Mock alarmed. I'm just worried about Sophie. Marriage isn't two people moving in. It's two ways of life merging. A household where the husband is permanently absent, that's a heavy thing to put on a wife. And Marcus. You're the doctor. You know the numbers better than I do, what the depression rates look like for women living long-term in isolation. In suppressed emotional states. I'd done a quiet swap. Busy at work now equaled emotional neglect equaled clinical risk. Marcus had no exit. As a doctor he couldn't deny the data. But agreeing meant agreeing he couldn't make Sophie happy. He was stuck. Linda lost it. You're talking nonsense. Marcus would never let his wife get depressed. He's a doctor. Right. I slapped my thigh. Like she'd thrown me a lifeline. Mrs. Shen. That's a great point. Marcus is a doctor. So he must have plenty of strategies to keep a wife mentally healthy. I turned back to Marcus. Educate me, eyes. Marcus. Would you mind walking us through it? For example, what would you prescribe your wife to head off postpartum depression? And when she complains because she hasn't seen you in weeks? Are you going to do talk therapy? Or just hit her with a sedative? PFFF. That one she couldn't hold. Sophie laughed out loud. She covered with her teacup fast. But the sound was already out. And it landed on Linda and Marcus like an open-handed slap. Marcus's face was the color of liver. His eyes were burning. I'd bet money he'd never been humiliated like this, by a broke kid he was looking down on. Using his own field. His proudest ground. To drag him across the floor. Inside. I was grinning. You want to play logic with me? Get bigger. Today I was beating magic with magic. Using the thing he was best at to break him. Time to twist. I sighed. Made my face sympathetic. Listen. I can see this is a tough spot for Marcus. Doctors have it hard. Let's change the subject. Something lighter. I turned to Linda. All warmth. Mrs. Shen. May I ask, Marcus is exceptional. Like you said. How did you persuade someone like him to sit down with Sophie? Did you? Make some kind of offer? That one was a beautiful question. Hidden inside it, a poisoned suggestion. Marcus didn't come because Sophie was attractive. He came because Linda promised something. Which made him look mercenary. Which put Linda in the fire too. Linda went white. You watch your mouth. What offer? Marcus came because Sophie's a wonderful girl. Oh? Really? I let surprise into my face. But Mrs. Shen, weren't you the one who said earlier that Sophie's job was stable but didn't pay much? Compared to Marcus. On his million-a-year track? That doesn't really sound like a wonderful catch by your standards. Does it? Her own words. Handed back. Untouched. She choked on the air. Looked at Marcus. Help me out here. Marcus just sat there. Dark face. Mouth shut. He wasn't dumb. He'd already figured out I was here to torch the place. Every line out of my mouth was peeling another layer off him. The smart move was silence. I read his reaction and knew. I'd put a real dent in this guy. Time for the kill shot. I looked at Marcus. Voice all sincerity. Marcus. I get it. A man at your level, your standards for a partner have to be high. Way beyond the surface stuff Mrs. Shin has been listing. Stability and so on. I let my eyes graze Linda as I said it. Another shade off her face. I kept going. You'd value something deeper. Compatibility on the level that matters. Whether someone's kind. Whether she's independent. Has her own mind. Can understand what you're building. Right? Everything I said was unimpeachable. He had nowhere to push back. He had to nod. You're right. Jake. He had to grind it out through his teeth. Excellent. I smacked the table. Lit up with delight. I knew you weren't on the same page as Mrs. Shin. Your standards are admirable. Then I turned to Sophie. Took her hand. Her palm was a little damp. She didn't pull away. Her fingers tightened on mine. I looked back at Marcus. Couldn't have hidden the smile if I'd tried. Marcus. I'll be honest with you. Every quality you just described, Sophie has all of them. She's kind. Honest. Sees a stray cat and her heart breaks. She's strong. Self-sufficient. Carries her own weight. Never leans. She has her own mind. She knows what she wants. And she gets me. She backs my work. She backs my dreams. She is, in my view, the perfect partner. That speech came out so sincere I nearly believed it myself. Sophie's face was the color of a ripe apple. Head down. But her hand on mine clamped tighter. I turned back to Marcus. Kindred spirits smile. Marcus. Our taste is impressively aligned. I got there first. I swear I watched the HP bar empty above his head. That was the kill. I'd used his own admitted standards to prove Sophie was perfect. Then told him this perfect woman was already mine. I'd put him on the moral high ground and stolen the prize off his plate while he was up there. He couldn't react. Reacting would mean knocking over the noble pedestal he'd just stood on. He had to swallow it. Glass and all. His hand under the table was a fist. Knuckles white. Veins up. But within a few seconds his face came back to neutral. His fist unclenched. He let out a long breath. He stood up. The polished smile was back, only now with fatigue and distance underneath. Jake. Sophie. Congratulations. He gave a small half-bow to Linda. Mrs. Shin. Thank you for this. I have an emergency at the hospital. I should go. He didn't look at me again. Turned. Pulled the door open. Walked out. Composed. Clean. No drag. I had to give him a quiet nod for it. Smart guy. Knew when to cut his losses. With Marcus gone. The room dropped into silence. Linda was a weathered statue. Frozen. Ash-faced. Eyes blank. The performance she'd choreographed. The trump card she'd been waving for a week. I'd reduced both to confetti in under 20 minutes. Pride. Authority. The aura of being the alpha at every table, gone. She sat there a long time. Then she turned. Very slowly. Looked at the two of us like we were idiots. Her lips were trembling. Voice scraped raw. You'll regret this. She grabbed her bag and stumbled out. The exit was not graceful. The room was just me and Sophie. Eye to eye. Her eyes were lit up like stars. She held the look for a good 15 seconds. Then she punched my arm. Not hard. Jake. You are evil. She said evil. The smile she couldn't suppress said something else. That smile had spring weather in it. Cleared the room out. All the gunpowder. Gone. I rubbed my arm. Pretended to wince. Hey. Spousal abuse. I just defended your future. I deserve a medal. Not assault charges. Spousal? She huffed and turned a little pink. Who said you were anyone's spouse? Our community theater operation hasn't gone full-time yet. Depends on management. I grinned. Ms. Shen, did your temporary boyfriend's performance meet expectations? 5 stars? Conversion to permanent? She laughed. Couldn't help it. She hid it in her teacup. Set it down. Composed her face. Performance-wise, barely passing. Logical. Quick on your feet. Skin like a rhino. World-class at pissing people off. Just a little too mean. Did you see Marcus's face? Like he ate a fly. He's never going on another blind date in his life. That's tactics. I said. Smug. Different enemies. Different methods. Your mother needs logic and patience. Marcus needed fast and surgical. Get him to walk himself out. Otherwise. With your mom. Today's Marcus becomes tomorrow's Dr. Wong and next week's Professor Lin. Forever war. She thought about it. Nodded. How is your brain wired? Day to day you look pretty laid back. Honestly a little lazy. Then crunch time hits and you turn into a different animal. Combat mode. Apparently. Don't judge a book. I said. Preening. This is what we call the genius in disguise. You wouldn't get it. Ugh. She rolled her eyes. The eyes were still smiling. The room quieted. The fight had drained out of the air. What was left was something subtler. Warmer. With a thread of something else running through it. A server came in and cleared the cold dishes. Brought new tea. Neither of us suggested leaving. We just sat. Drinking tea. Like we had 1,000 things to say. And like nothing needed to be said. After a while. Sophie spoke quietly. Jake. Yeah. Today. Thank you. Soft voice. Real. I never thought I'd see my mother like that. Defeated. Powerless. Honestly. Part of me felt bad for her. But more of me felt free. She looked up. Her eyes were shining. All these years. I've lived inside her remote control. What I wear. Who I'm friends with. The job I picked. I fought her my whole life and lost every round. I thought I was never getting out from under her. You just showed me there's a way out. Listening to her. Something shifted in me too. I reached out. Covered her hand on the table. She trembled a little. Didn't pull away. Idiot. I said softly. This wasn't me. You chose to fight back. I just happened to show up at the right moment. Even without me. You would have found your own way out eventually. It's different. She shook her head. The old me would have gotten into a screaming match with her. Stormed off. That's it. I couldn't have dismantled them like you did. So, it's you. Really? She was looking at me with something I hadn't seen in her eyes before. Admiration in it. Something like awe. And a thread of something else, needing. My heart took a hit. It hit me that something between us had shifted shape. This wasn't a con job against a parent anymore. We'd been through a fight together. Whatever was between us now had been forged in it. Maybe more than forged. I looked at her face, closer than it had ever been, at those eyes that talked even when she wasn't. A thought came up I couldn't push back down. I wanted to make it real. My throat moved. My voice came out a little rough. Sophie. Earlier, when I told them you were my girlfriend. When I told them how good you are, I wasn't acting. Every word was true. It came out before I'd planned it. But it landed where it needed to. She froze. Color shot to her ears. Her head went down. Her lashes were trembling like wings. The room changed temperature. I could hear my own pulse. I watched her. Waited for the verdict. The seconds stretched. Each one a small lifetime. Just as I was about to crack and say something to break it. She looked up. She bit her lip. A little shy. A little hesitant. A little going for it. She looked at me. Soft. Careful voice. Jake. So, is that wife of yours still about to give birth? I blinked. Then I laughed. Out loud. From the gut. I got it. I tightened my hand on hers and pulled her closer. Looked her straight in the eyes. Dead serious. Not anymore. The mother of the kids hasn't agreed to marry me yet. She went redder. But she didn't look away. She smiled. She leaned in. Voice for me only. Then, your temporary boyfriend is performing acceptably. We can discuss a probationary period. How long is the probation? She tilted her head. Mischievous. Depends on you. That mischievous smile. It got under my skin like a kitten with its claws out. Just barely. Depends on me? I leaned in. Less than 4 inches between us. I could smell her shampoo. Jasmine. Faint and good. What does Her Majesty want? Exactly? Morning and evening check-ins? Foods of the Empire delivered to your door? Slaying every obstacle in your path? I dropped my voice. Her ears went red in real time. She tilted back. Trying to put a polite half-inch back between us. Smooth talker. But she didn't push me off. The air between us was doing something. Pink bubble territory. Growling. A loud. Badly timed growl. Her face went crimson. She covered her stomach. Mortified. I started laughing. Her Majesty is hungry. My fault. Got so caught up in the war I forgot to feed you. The whole table of food we'd ordered had barely been touched. We'd been busy with knives. Now the war was over and our stomachs were filing complaints. She looked indignant. Don't laugh. An elbow to my ribs. Soft. Closer to a poke than a hit. Okay. Okay. Not laughing. Hands up. What do you want to eat? My treat. We'll call it the victory dinner. She thought about it. Nodded. Fine. But not a real restaurant. Too expensive. Too stiff. I want street food. Street food? Yeah. Her eyes lit up. That food street behind the university gates. Cold noodles. Squid skewers. Stinky tofu. So good. I used to sneak out from the police academy for it. I could see her in that uniform. Ponytailed. Eating with grease on her chin. Something in my chest gave a little. Done. No hesitation. Whatever you want. That's what we eat. We can buy out the whole street if you feel like it. Show off. I roll. The smile gave her away. We left the Jade Room, the site of 2 ambushes now. I drove the Civic toward campus. Sophie in the passenger seat. The indie band we both loved on the speakers. Soft evening wind through the cracked window. Different car than the one that dropped her off after the first dinner. No tension. No probing. Just a kind of easy rhythm. We talked. Stories from the academy. Stupid things I did in college. Two lives that had no business overlapping. And somehow lined up. Both grinding. Both trying to be better. Both wanting something simple and clean. I parked at the head of the food street. Noise and smells hit through the windows. Late night human energy. She came out of the car like a bird. Grabbed my hand. Soft. Warm. Pulling me through the crowd. Holding her hand like that. I felt loaded up with the whole world. Cold noodles. Double sausage. Double egg. Squid skewers. Extra chili sauce. Stinky tofu. Which she ate happily and I backed away from. She was laughing so hard she could barely chew. Stuck a piece of tofu in my mouth. Try it. It's good. I chewed twice. Like a man going to the gallows. Actually. Pretty good. We didn't sit down. We did what every couple on that street was doing, walked. Ate. Talked. Ate. Grease on my fingers. Sauce on her chin. We were laughing harder than I'd laughed in years. Watching her, lips a little flushed from the chili. Eyes crinkled into half moons, there was a voice in my head. Jake. You're cooked. All the way through. Full and quiet. We walked to the campus track. Students running. Other couples doing what we were doing. The whole place smelled like youth. We walked the rubber lane. Neither of us said anything. It wasn't awkward. It was peaceful. Jake. She stopped. Yeah? A street light behind her. Putting a soft halo around her whole outline. What you said in there? She hesitated. About me being kind. Independent. Did you mean it? She was looking at me. A small uncertainty in her eyes. She was checking. How much of the speech was real? How much was performance? I looked at her. Every word. In my head you're 10,000 times better than what I said. Her eyes went a little glassy. She bit her lip. About to say something. I didn't give her the chance. I reached out and pulled her in. She tensed for a second. Then went soft. Tucked her head against my chest. I could feel her heartbeat. Solid. After a few seconds it lined up with mine. I held her. Chin against the top of her head. Quiet. Sophie. Be my girlfriend. The real version. She didn't answer. Her arms tightened around me a notch. That was all the answer I needed. I drove her home. The same complex. The same yellowed streetlight. The car stopped. Neither of us moved. I'm here, she said. Yeah. I should go up? Yeah. She unbuckled. Reached for the door. I caught her wrist. Sophie. She turned. Confused. What? I didn't say anything. I leaned across and kissed her on the forehead. Light. Soft. Like a feather landing. She froze. Eyes wide. Like a deer in oncoming. Killer cute. I pulled back. Smiled. Good night. Girlfriend. The blush hit so hard I thought she might combust. She got the door open and bolted. At the doorway she stopped. Turned around. Waved hard at me. Then disappeared. I sat in the car. Touched my own lips. Hers were still on them somehow. Couldn't help it. I laughed. Moonlight tonight. Beautiful. Next morning. My phone woke me up. I fumbled for it. Didn't look. Picked up. Hello? Jake. Sophie. Tense. With anger underneath. I jolted up. Awake. What's wrong? What happened? My mother. Through her teeth. She's lost it. My stomach dropped. Linda's revenge. Right on schedule. What's she done? Did she come find you? No. She's been texting me since 6 in the morning. Hundreds. All hate. I'm shameless. I'm an ungrateful idiot. I've been bewitched by some broke kid. I've humiliated her face into the ground. She's going to disown me. I could see Linda right then. Spitting fury into her phone. Don't get worked up. That's all in the heat. No mother actually disowns her daughter. I know that part's heat. Volume up. But the next part isn't. She said, she's coming to your office. What? I sat straight up. Why? She said she's going to ask your boss what kind of employee they hired. That you're a fraud. That you target unsuspecting young women. She wants to torch your name at your job. So you can't keep working there. I exhaled hard. This Linda Shin. She was vicious. The play was elegant in the worst way. For a guy at a private company. Name and relationships out a paycheck. If she rolled into the office and put on a show, the truth wouldn't matter. My image with my boss and my coworkers would be done. Even if they didn't fire me. My track in that company was over. When? I said. Today. She's already got the address. I checked the time. 9:30 a.m. Sunday. No one at the office. Small breath. It's the weekend. Office is empty. Earliest she can do anything is tomorrow. Then tomorrow. Sophie's voice cracked. Jake. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. This is my fault. If you lose your job because of me. Idiot. I cut her off. How is this on you? If anyone owes an apology, it's me. I dragged you into this. Don't panic. Don't blame yourself. The sky's still up. Steady voice. The kind that does the work for someone else. The crying on her end slowed. But she's going to your office. That's my mother. I can't stop her. I know. I said. Which is why we're not going to. What? Trying to block someone like her makes the fire bigger. She's hot right now. Her authority got challenged. Her face got broken. She wants to see us beg. We don't give her that. So we just let her go? No. I half smiled. We don't block her. We redirect. We get her to drop it on her own. How? If the mountain won't come to me. I go to the mountain. I said. She wants to find me at my office? We go to her first. What? She was floored again. That's walking straight into the trap. No. I said. We're not going there to fight. We're going there to grovel. Grovel. Yes. A small curl at the corner of my mouth. And not me alone. You take me. I take you? Sophie was lost. Jake. What is going through your head? Hear me out. Patient voice. 1. We go on offense. We move the battlefield off my office and into her living room. Initiative goes to us. 2. You take me. That signals where you stand. You and I are one unit. To go after me. She has to go through you first. 3, and this is the main thing. We're going to grovel. Posture all the way down. Sincerity dialed up. We let her think she won. We let her vent the bile. Once it's out, we can negotiate. She went quiet. After a long pause, Jake. This is too much for you. Bowing to my mother. Not too much. Gentle. Firm. For my girlfriend? It's nothing. And bowing isn't losing. It's positioning to win. Don't forget, your knight fights with his head. Long silence. I could hear her breathing. Slight congestion in it. Jake. Yeah? I think I'm starting to really like you. I smiled. Funny. Same. When are we going? This afternoon. Speed matters. Don't give her time to keep building. Hit her on the back foot. Okay. I'll come pick you up. No. I'll drive. I want to park my beater right out front of your building. I want every neighbor to see what kind of boyfriend their officer Shin brought home. I hung up and got out of bed. Pulled the curtains. Light flooded the room. New round. Incoming. No fear. Just appetite. Mrs. Shin. Your future son-in-law is coming over. Hope you're ready. 2 p.m. I rolled up to her complex in a freshly washed Civic. Didn't go up right away. Texted her first. I'm here. She came out of the lobby in workout clothes. Hair thrown up. Tense. Worried all over her face. She got in fast. Are you sure? Looking at me. Not certain. Can we do it another day? I'm scared she's going to. I took her cold hand. It's okay. I've got it. I held her eyes. Smiled. We're a team. When we go up there. No matter what she says. Don't fight her. Leave it to me. She hesitated. Then nodded. Okay. I trust you. Before going up. I popped the trunk. 2 big bags of artillery. Designer scarf for Linda. Premium ginseng and such. Fruit and tea on top. Cost me close to half a month's pay. Sophie's eyes went wide. What is all that? I said we were here to grovel. I winked. If you're going to do the bit. Do the whole bit. Hard to swat a smiling man with gifts in his hands. A son-in-law showing up with bags? Even she can't kick me out with a broom. I got a laugh out of her. Some of the tension came off. We went up. We stood at the door. One look at each other. Sophie took a breath. Pressed the bell. The door opened fast. Linda. Pajamas. Hair still messy. Sleep crusted at the edges. She saw us. Saw me. Saw the bags in my hands. She froze. Like she'd seen a ghost in broad daylight. A solid 5 seconds. Then the face dropped. Eyes went to ice picks. Aimed at me. What are you doing here? Cold. Sharp. You're not welcome in this house. She moved to slam the door. I got my foot in the gap. Put on my biggest, most harmless smile. Mrs. Shin. Don't be upset. I came to apologize. I lifted the bags toward her. Yesterday I overstepped. I upset you. So I brought Sophie. We're here to make it right. Total humility. Mrs. Shin every line. Apologize every line. And I dragged Sophie's name into it on purpose. Linda paused. She looked at the bags. She looked at Sophie behind me. Head down. Silent. Her face couldn't decide on a color. Part of her wanted to throw me out by the collar. But it was her own daughter who'd brought this outside man home. If she made a scene, the loss of face was hers. And I was holding bags. If she dumped me and the gifts on the doorstep, the neighbors would hear about it. The story would be, what a small, bitter mother-in-law. She cared about face more than almost anything. She couldn't afford this one. She ground her teeth and stepped aside. Get in. Squeezed out through her teeth. The door slammed behind us. Sophie and I caught each other's eyes. Step 1. Inside enemy lines. The living room had its own weather. Heavy. A middle-aged man on the couch with a newspaper. Glasses. Distinguished. Sophie's father. Professor Shen. He looked up at the sound of the door. Saw us. Surprise. Then a warm smile. Sophie. You're back. He set down the paper and stood. His eyes went to me. Curious. Reading. And this is? Dad. A little tight in her voice. This is Jake. My boyfriend. Linda came charging out of the kitchen with a feather duster. Boyfriend? I never agreed to that. Sophie. You're calling him Dad now? Do I exist in this family or not? Finger pointed at me. Yelling at her daughter. Why did you bring him here today? To kill me with rage? The fuse was lit. I stepped forward. Put myself in front of Sophie. Bowed to Linda. 90 degrees. Textbook. Mrs. Shen. I'm sorry. Loud. Clear. Whatever happened. It's on me. I handled it badly. I upset you. Yell at me. Hit me. Don't take it out on Sophie. She only pushed back because of me. All weight on my shoulders. Sophie wiped clean. Linda stood there with the duster up. Stuck. She'd been holding all that fire for Sophie. Now I'd put myself in front of the gun and it didn't work the same way. Hit me? She had more class than that. Yell at me? After a bow that low. Anything more would be a tantrum. The room locked up again. The professor finally spoke. Calm voice. Cool stream of water through the room. Enough. Linda. He walked over and took the duster out of her hand. We have a guest. We sit. We talk. He turned to me. Apologetic smile. Sorry about this. Jake. Linda has a sharp tongue. Soft heart underneath. He called me Jake like he'd been calling me that for years. Distance closed. Position taken, he wasn't against me. Internal fist pump. Second goal of the day. Locked. The legendary ally, found. Hello. Sir. Polite. Sophie's told me a lot about you. University professor. Brilliant. I see now she wasn't exaggerating. A clean piece of flattery. He laughed. Patted my shoulder. Smooth one. Don't stand there. Sit. Sit. He waved us to the couch. Linda was huffing. But with her husband's word out, she had nowhere to go. She landed in the armchair. Black face. A volcano on standby. I set the gifts on the coffee table. Sir. Mrs. Shen. First time visiting properly. Wasn't sure what you'd like. Just a small token. He glanced at the pile. Nodded. Thoughtful. Jake. You didn't have to. The friendlier he got, the worse Linda's face looked. I didn't rush in once we sat. I picked up the teapot. Poured for the professor and Linda first. Then Sophie. Then me. The professor caught the order. The smile in his eyes deepened. What do you do? Jake? The standard father questions. Started. Internet company. Product manager. New industry. Future in it. You're being kind. It pays the bills. Easy back and forth. The room warmed up. Linda sidelined. She finally cracked. Set her teacup down with a clack. Are you really doing this with him? Did you forget how he conned your daughter? You're going to let him be your son-in-law? The professor's eyebrows went down. Linda. Easy. Easy? That lit her like a match. She stabbed her finger at me and started reading off the indictment. Look at him. No money. No car. Job he could lose tomorrow. Take away that lying mouth and what is left? Sophie. What are you getting out of this? I didn't fight back. I sat. Listened. With a small guilty smile on my face. When she ran out of breath and went for water, I came in. Quiet. Clear. Mrs. Shen. You're right. I have a lot of shortcomings. Worlds away from your idea of a son-in-law. Pause. I turned to Sophie. The look on my face went tender. But I love her. Real. That's something money and cars don't buy. I want to be a better man for her. I'm willing to take whatever you throw at me. As long as it makes her happy. Real. Slow. Sincere. The room pulled in a breath. Sophie's eyes were glassy. The professor was looking at me with approval. Even Linda, for the first time, there was a crack in the rage. She opened her mouth. The thing about a hard word against a I love her, it has nowhere to land. Time for the big move. I looked at Linda. Sincere as I knew how. Mrs. Shen. I know this is about Sophie. You don't want her to suffer. So let me make a promise. 5 years. 5 years from today. I will have made something of myself in this city. I'll put Sophie's name on the deed of a house. I'll be driving a car you'd be comfortable in. I'll give Sophie a wedding everyone she knows is jealous of. If I haven't done it in 5 years, you don't have to say a word. I'll walk out of Sophie's life on my own. Empty-handed. No drama. Done. Does that work? The line landed like a depth charge. The Shen living room rocked. The whole room went still. Just the four of us breathing at different speeds. Sophie's eyes were red as a rabbit's. Tears holding at the rim. Refusing to fall out of pride. She looked at me. Touched. Hurt. Mad at me a little. She opened her mouth to argue, I don't care about a house. I don't care about a car. I don't care about a wedding. I cut her off with a tiny shake of the head. Steady. Firm. Trust me. Professor Shen, the room's center of gravity, went quiet. He was studying me. Approval in there. Evaluation in there. And the worry of a father about the future. Probably wondering whether I was a dragon or a worm. Whether the 5-year line was real ambition or a check that bounces. And Linda. The eye of the storm. She'd sunk back into the chair. White-faced. Chest heaving. The look she had on me had changed. The pure rage was gone. New ingredients in the mix, shock. Doubt. The bitterness of being cornered. She'd probably never run into something like this in her life. Someone who didn't play by her rules. A guy crazy enough to put his entire future on the table. She wanted to fire back. 5 years? Why would I trust that? Who do you think you are? 5 years and you'll be somebody? She couldn't get the words out. Because the 5-year frame was vicious. It piled all the weight on me. It cut off every retreat. If she said no, she was the petty mother blocking her daughter's happiness. If she said yes, she'd accepted me as the son-in-law on probation. She'd given me the legitimate trial period. Either way she lost. She lost the absolute authority she'd held over this family for 30 years. Time stopped. When she finally found her voice. It was hoarse. 5 years. A short laugh. Nothing in it but contempt. Sounds nice. Jake. I'll tell you something. Pretty words don't move me. I've eaten more salt than you've eaten rice. I've seen plenty of young men with mouths full of plans. Still hard on the surface. The energy underneath had dropped. She was looking for an off-ramp. I handed her one. You're right. Mrs. Shin. Right now. Anything I say is just words. Which is exactly why I'm asking for 5 years. To prove Sophie didn't pick wrong. To prove I'm not just a smooth talker. I stood up. Bowed again. Deep. Please. Give me the chance. Down to the floor. With something underneath that wouldn't bend. Linda's lips trembled. She tried to speak. Nothing came out. The professor stepped in. He sighed. Walked over to her. A hand on her shoulder. Linda. Tired. Gentle. Let it go. Let the kids work out their own life. He turned to me. Something firmer in his eyes now. Jake. I'll remember what you said. 5 years. I'm not as fixed on the material side as Linda. But as her father, I want my daughter's life to be steady and good. Don't disappoint me. Don't disappoint her. That was the hammer. He'd taken Linda's seat and answered for her. Linda's head snapped up. Goin'. Enough. First sharp note in his voice. It's settled. You make this any louder and this house won't be livable. He didn't look at her. He turned and walked to the study. The door shut. Hard. 3 of us in the living room. Total silence. Linda collapsed into the chair. Eyes empty. Staring at the ceiling. We'd won. Bloody. But won. Sophie stood up and took my hand. Let's go. Her voice had a tremor in it. I nodded. I stopped in front of Linda. Mrs. Shin. We'll head out. Get some rest. She didn't react. Statue with the soul out. I led Sophie out of the apartment. We made it to the Civic. Then her body let go. She slumped over the steering wheel. Shoulders shaking. The dam broke. I didn't talk. I rubbed her back. Slow. Steady. She needed to drain it. She cried for a long time. When she came up, her eyes were red and swollen. She looked at me. Pure anger. She swung. Hit me square in the chest. Jake. You idiot. Who told you to make that call? Who told you to make a promise like that? Who do you think you are? Superman? The fist was soft. It didn't hurt. Something else in my chest twisted. Though. It hurt. I caught her wrist. Pulled her into my chest. Held tight. She fought me. Sobbing through it. Let go. You arrogant, do you know how long 5 years is? Do you know how much you just put on yourself? I don't want any of it. I don't want a house. I don't want a car. I don't want a damn wedding. I want you. I want you healthy. I want you happy. Do you understand? Every line a hammer. She was furious because she was hurting for me. I pulled her in tighter. Let her cry into the shirt. Said it into her ear. Again and again. I know. I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I scared you. The crying eased. The fighting went out of her. She went still in my arms. A small boat that had finally found a port. Just our heartbeats and a few last sniffles. Jake. Voice clogged. Do you think she's right? Do you think you don't deserve me? Is that why you said it? I let her go. Took her face in my hands. Wiped the tears off. Looked her in the eyes. Slowly. No. Sophie. Listen, I have never thought I didn't deserve you. You're not a princess up on a tower. I'm not some broke kid down below. We're equal. 2 minds that pulled toward each other. What I said today wasn't to prove anything to your mother. It wasn't out of insecurity. I held her gaze. Burning. I said it for me. What does that mean? Because I love you. Plain. Because I love you. I want to put the best of everything in your hands. I want you in a place with light and space. Not that little apartment. I want you in a car that's safe and warm. Not out in the rain doing traffic stops. I want to throw you a wedding nobody who knows you forgets. I want everyone to know, Sophie Shin married the man who loves her most in the world. And he can give her a life. Quiet. But with weight. That's not pressure. Sophie. That's just how a man loves a woman. Direct. From the gut. That's my dream. That's what I'm running on for the next 5 years. Will you run it with me? She stared at me. Tears welled up again. Different tears this time. Not anger. Not worry. Something fuller. Spilling. She launched into me. Arms locked around my neck. Yes. Horse. Dead certain. Yes. Jake. I'll run it with you. 5 years. 10. The whole thing. I'm in. I laughed. Held her tighter. No more crying. Day 1 of officially together. Has to be a happy day. From here on. Your tears are reserved for happiness only. Hard knot into my collarbone. Like a small content cat. We stayed there a long time. Until the sunset spread across half the sky. She pulled back. Tear tracks still drying on her face. A flush over them. So, where now? She asked. Home. What? She blinked. My place. I started the car. Gave her a small mysterious smile. To celebrate day 1. I'm cooking. Candlelit dinner. Tonight. You cook? Pure skepticism. I do. Eyebrows up. Time you saw what your boyfriend has under the hood besides the talking. We pulled away. City lights through the windshield. 2 people leaning into each other in the cab. From today on. Our lives were tied together. The 5-year mark wasn't a chain. It was a blueprint. A treasure map. I was going to take this woman. Step by step. All the way to the X. My place is small. 1 bedroom. Rented. But clean. When I let her in. She didn't look down on it. She did the opposite. Wandered around like a curious kid. Wow. You keep it nice in here. She stopped at the bookshelf. You read this much? And, programming books? She picked up a thick Python manual. Surprise on her face. I took it back. Eased it onto the shelf. Hobby. You? Code? A little. Modest hand wave. Took some classes. Forgot it all. A small lie. I wasn't ready to put my cards on the table yet. 1 bite at a time. Sit. Watch some TV. I handed her the remote. I'll do my thing. Want me to help? No. I steered her onto the couch. Her Majesty's job is looking gorgeous and waiting to be fed. A wink. I went into the kitchen. Small kitchen. Fully stocked. Apron on. Fridge open. Loaded. I'd made a real grocery run yesterday. Planning to spoil myself after a hard week. Now it was getting promoted. Steaks out. Tomatoes. Pasta. Salad fixings. Started moving. Chopping. Marinating. Boiling. Whisking sauce. Hands that didn't move like a product manager who only knew how to talk. They moved like someone who'd worked a line. Sophie pretended to watch TV in the living room. Her eyes kept finding the kitchen through the glass. Curious. Probing. She probably couldn't figure out how many other versions of me she hadn't met yet. Half an hour and change. 2 black pepper steaks. Medium well. Bolognese pasta. Smelling like an Italian grandmother. Bright salad. All on the small dining table. Bottle of red I'd been saving. 2 stemmed glasses. Lights down. Few candles lit. The whole room shifted into something warm and a little romantic. Wow. She came to the table. Took it in. Her eyes in candlelight outshone anything in the sky. Jake. You made all of this? All of it. I pulled her chair out. After you. See if it's any good. She sat down. Careful. Cut a small piece of steak. Chewed slowly. Eyes lit up. This is good. This is so good. Better than the steakhouse. Eat as much as you want. I poured her wine. Today one. Cheers. Cheers. Glass touched glass. A clean little ring through the quiet apartment. Steak. Wine. Talk. Better than any restaurant. No audience. No family war. Just 2 people and a table that meant something. Jake. She paused over the pasta. Looked up. Your 5-year plan. Do you actually have one? I knew. She was still worried about me. I set down the knife. Wiped my mouth. I do. I don't promise things I can't back. I didn't say what I said in front of your parents on a whim. Back it with what? I didn't answer directly. Asked her instead. In this economy. What's worth the most? Money? No. I shook my head. Information. Tech. A good idea that solves something most people are stuck on. My job is researching users. Reading data. Hunting the next thing. And I found something. In the candlelight there was a glint in my eyes that wasn't there at dinner. Ambition. A blue ocean. Big incumbents haven't moved in. Demand is enormous. If I can put the right product in the water there, 5 years is a long timeline. I might do it in 2 or 3. She was watching me. Hooked. Something close to awe in her eyes. Why aren't you doing it now? Couple of pieces missing. Like? A technical co-founder who can turn the idea into a product. And seed money. I raised the glass. Took a slow sip. Looked out the window. Both solvable. I have targets. There'll be bread. There'll be milk. Trust me. Dinner ran late. We talked about a lot. My plan. Her work. Things further out than that. Walking her down to her car. She suddenly hugged me. Quick kiss on the cheek. Bolted like a rabbit. I touched the spot where she'd kissed me. Standing there grinning like an idiot. I didn't go straight to bed. Laptop open. Single folder on the desktop. Project Athena. Inside, dense layers of code. 100+ page business plan. Cover line. A social app that's going to change the world. That was my real card. 2 years of secret work. Stalled because I had no co-founder and no money. And now, because of one woman, it was about to come back online. I opened the editor. Looked at the familiar characters. Fingers on the keys. Something in my chest going. Sophie. Wait for me. Your knight is going to war. That night was the start of the acceleration. By day. I was still the diligent product manager. Meetings. Specs. Fights with engineering. Negotiations with growth. On the surface. Nothing changed. Coworkers noticed something else. Though. Jake had shifted. The slacker who used to leave at 5 sharp was gone. The new guy was focused. Sharp. Almost intimidating. Spec docs that took 2 days now took half a day. In meetings. Instead of nodding along. I was naming the actual problem in one line. Like a machine that had been reflashed. My boss pulled me into a one-on-one. Worried I was burning out. Floated a raise. I smiled. Declined. Said I'd just found my reason. Nobody knew that when I got home. I was a different guy. The architect of Project Athena. I rebuilt the product logic. Tightened the financial model in the deck. Started using my half-decent coding to put together a working prototype. 4 hours of sleep. Coffee and strong tea as my co-pilots. Body wrecked. Brain wide awake. Because I wasn't fighting alone. Late every night. However late I shut down. Sophie's WhatsApp came in. Asleep yet? Don't push it. Take care of yourself. Did you eat today? A few words and the tiredness fell off me. We'd talk a long time. Project updates. Calls she'd run that day. I told her Athena was a social app built on interest graphs and personality compatibility. Different from the looks and money apps clogging the market. Built to help people find the person they could actually talk to. People like us. She didn't follow all of it. She backed me anyway. No questions. I don't get the algorithms or the code. But I know you're building something cool. Go. My night. Best fuel I had. A week in. The prototype had a body. Rough. Buggy. The core flow ran end to end. Time to bring in the person who could actually launch this. I dialed a number I hadn't called in over a year. It rang a long time. A sleepy, irritated voice picked up. Who is this? Some of us are trying to sleep. I laughed. Big man. It's me. 3 seconds of silence. Then a scream loud enough to break the speaker. Jake. You're alive. You disappeared for almost 2 years. I thought aliens grabbed you for experiments. Marvin Chen. Bunkmate from college. 250 pounds and an IQ that didn't match. The only person on my list for Athena's technical lead. Cut it out. I said. Tomorrow night. Drinks. You free? No. I'm on bug duty tomorrow night. You don't even know what these idiot product managers shoved into this sprint. He launched into a rant. I let him run. When he was done, I came in slow. Marvin. I have a project. It might change the world. It might also bankrupt us. Want to hear it? Silence on the other end. Heavy breathing. Jake. His voice flipped. Serious now. You being straight with me? On my future wife's happiness. I'm being straight. Fine, he said. He'd just decided something. Tomorrow. 8 p.m. Old spot. The basement. Don't waste my time. Next night. The basement. Our college bar. Laptop in my bag. Marvin was in the same window booth. Still huge. Faded plaid shirt. Hair in chaos. Bags under his eyes that looked surgically inserted. Standard career coder. He saw me and went straight to a bear hug. Almost cracked a rib. You son of a, you finally crawled out. We didn't make small talk long. 2 beers in. I opened the laptop. Athena's prototype on screen. I didn't lead with features or tech. I led with a story. The traffic cop. The 5-year line. He listened. He started smirking. Then he stopped smirking. Then he was somewhere else entirely. Leaning forward. When I finished. He sat with it for a long moment. So. All this. To get the girl. Cut straight through. Not just. I shook my head. She's the catalyst. Athena has been in my head for 2 years. I just needed a real reason to pick it up. Now I have one. I pushed the laptop toward him. Now let me show you the product. I talked for a long time. Core logic. Competitor analysis. The pain points. The monetization. I broke down 100 pages of plan into the cleanest version of itself. Marvin didn't say anything. Just kept drinking. Tapping the table, his thinking tick. When I finished, the bar was about to close. He looked up. Bloodshot eyes locked on me. Jake. You know what this is? This is a bet. I know. The odds are under 1%. You lose this. You don't just lose money. You lose her. I know. Calm. Set. He held my eyes a long time. Then he laughed. The kind of laugh that matched his weight. It had heft. Damn it. He swore. I'm in. He held out his fist. I held out mine. We knocked them together. Hard. Like a vow. From then on, Athena wasn't a one-man dream. Marvin coming on was like dropping aviation fuel into a tired engine. He didn't quit his day job right away, said he was going to put in his honor shift for the soulless capitalists. And skim some pay for war funds. Every other waking hour went to us. We rented a small office near my apartment. Days. I was a product manager. Nights. That office was the secret base. I owned product. Design. Everything non-technical. Marvin took my wild ideas and converted them into shipping code. He was the real thing. Things I thought were hard, he'd handle in a couple of evenings. The prototype filled out fast. I was seeing Sophie way less. I was either at the office or asleep at the office. She didn't complain. She supported me her own way. She'd come by the secret base on her days off. She wouldn't talk or interrupt. She'd clean the place. Throw out the takeout boxes. She'd bring food. Sometimes hers. Sometimes soup her mother had made. Yes. Her mother. Linda. Since the 5-year scene, Linda had downgraded from active opposition to cold ignore. She wasn't trying to break us up anymore. When she watched Sophie pack lunch for me, all she got out was a "that girl is already gone" mutter. Then the next day there'd be an even more nutritious soup ready for Sophie to bring over. That was Linda's clumsy version of love. Out loud, she didn't acknowledge me. Inside, she was probably already filing me as son-in-law on probation. The 5-year line was a quiet collar on her opposition. And it was buying me time. Besides Sophie, one other person showed up at the office a lot. Her father. Professor Shin. He was genuinely curious about Athena. Not from the business angle. From sociology and psychology. He'd debate me on what the app would do to how young people thought about marriage. Whether soul matching could actually push back against the era's looks first and money first default. Every conversation with him left me with something. He was sharpening the foundation of the product. Not the surface. I'd never planned for this. The broke kid the future mother-in-law couldn't stand had become close friends with the future father-in-law first. A weekend afternoon, Professor Shin came by the office. He'd brought someone. Mid-30s. Bespoke suit. Sharp lines on him. Sharper eyes. Jake. Marvin. Professor Shin made the intro. This is Leo Lee, former student of mine. Runs his own investment firm now. Angel investor. Marvin and I exchanged a look. Stunned. Both of us. An angel investor. The thing we'd been chasing in our daydreams. Mr. Lee. Both of us up. A little stiff with the greeting. Leo smiled. Shook each of our hands. His grip was solid. His eyes were not. They were hawk's eyes. And they were running over our office. Professor told me, he said. No preamble. Said his future son-in-law is building something interesting. I came to see how interesting. Casual tone. The pressure under it was real. The test had arrived. I took a breath. Fired up the projector. My first real pitch. The audience this time wasn't a brother or a future father-in-law. This was a man with capital. A man who could decide whether we lived. I kept it cold. Disciplined. No passion. No dream. Numbers. Logic. Model. Returns. Marvin filled in the technical questions. Showing off the matching algorithm we were both proud of. Leo didn't talk. He listened. He landed 2 or 3 questions. Every one of them a needle into a soft spot. We blocked. We pivoted. We answered. 2 hours of high-intensity chess. By the end, both our shirts were soaked. Leo closed his laptop. Leaned back. Fingers laced. Watching us. Face giving nothing away. Project's not bad. Finally. Idea has angle. Tech is defensible. The lane is real. Our hearts went up to our throats. But. Stomachs through the floor. Your team is too thin. 1 p.m. 1 engineer. No designer. No growth lead. You want to take $100 billion market with this card table? Naive. And your cap ask is too soft. Social products burn cash early. User acquisition. Education. The number in your deck won't even ripple. Brutal. And accurate. That was exactly the part we were scared of. Marvin and I went quiet. He was right. Nothing to push back with. Just as I was bracing for the no. Professor Shin, who'd been quiet the whole pitch, spoke up. He smiled at Leo. Leo. Everything you said. I follow. You read commercial risk better than I ever will. But that's not why I brought you here. Leo looked over. Then why? Professor? I brought you to invest in the person. His eyes settled on me. Trust in them. Confidence. I haven't known Jake long. But I know who he is. He's got drive. Spine. He's steadier and sharper than men twice his age. More than that, he keeps his word. He carries weight. He's willing to put everything he has on a single promise. A man who'll fight that hard for someone he loves doesn't fail at his work. A good project can fail. A good person. A good team, they find a way to win. The room held still. I looked at him. Eyes hot. The person who got me. Who backed me hardest. Was the future father-in-law I'd met a handful of times. Leo looked at his teacher. Looked at me. The clinical edge in his face softened. What replaced it was a student's deference. He held the silence a long time. Then he stood. Held his hand out again. Mr. Jeong. First real smile of the afternoon. Welcome to my portfolio. 5 million. Angel round. Enough for the first ripple? Marvin and I were stuck. Happiness this size doesn't usually come this fast. After we signed the term sheet. After Leo and the professor left. Marvin and I stood there like idiots. Then we were jumping. Crying. Laughing. All of it. The dream finally had fuel. What we didn't know, a new storm was already gathering. Linda had picked up something through her own network. Big news. Jake, the kid who'd made all those promises, had quit his stable internet job. In her head. That meant unemployed. She thought she had the killing blow. She marched straight to Sophie's precinct. She was going to expose me as a fraud in front of every one of Sophie's coworkers. Front gate of the city traffic division. Linda blocked Sophie like a furious lion just as her shift ended. Voice sharp. Triumphant. Sophie. Stop right there. Where's that prize boyfriend of yours? Did you know he quit? Officers were filtering in and out. Heads turning. Sophie's face tightened. Mom. What are you doing here? Whatever it is, can we please do it at home? At home? Linda laughed cold. Kicked the volume up. I'd be dead before we got home. Look at the cat you brought home. Wasn't he going to do all those big things in 5 years? Where is he now? No job. Layabout. Liar. Top to bottom. What is he going to give you? You break it off with him today. The shouting pulled in more spectators. Sophie went red. She wanted the floor to open up. But under her mother's accusations, none of it moved her. She was actually calmer than she'd ever been. She looked at the woman losing her mind in front of her. Sighed. Mom. Quiet. Clear. You're right. Jake quit. Linda blinked. She hadn't expected the concession. The triumph on her face spread. See? See? I told you he wasn't. But. Sophie cut her off. He didn't quit because he got fired. He didn't quit because he couldn't hack it. He quit because he started his own company. What? Linda froze like she'd been hit. Started his own company? Yes. Sophie nodded. There was pride on her face now. He and a friend. They've already got angel funding. Mom. He's not a liar. He's working very hard for our future. Linda's mouth was open. Nothing came out. Her brain flatlined. The boy she'd written off as worthless had become a CEO overnight. It didn't compute. Right then. A new black Audi A6 rolled up beside them. Window down. Me. I gave them my brightest smile. Mrs. Shen. Sophie. What are we talking about? The car was a lease, small advance off the Angel round. Propped up to look like business. Today it was being repurposed. Linda stared at the car. Stared at me. Disbelief on top of disbelief. I got out. Walked over. Pulled a sharp business card out of my pocket. Handed it to her. Mrs. Shen. I haven't had a chance to update you yet. New company. Athena Tech. I'm CEO. She took the card on autopilot. Her fingers shook. The gold foil lettering bit at her eyes. CEO. Jake Jiang. Her worldview snapped clean in that moment. Tenure. Stability. Iron rice bowl. All the things she'd spent 30 years upholding, flattened by one piece of cardstock. She wanted to say something. Argue. Keep at it. None of her weapons fired. She'd lost. In the end she said nothing. Turned. Walked off in a daze. The set of her shoulders had no fight left in them. I watched her go. Didn't feel any victory. Just a quiet exhale. I walked over to Sophie. Took her hand. Okay? She shook her head. Then threw her arms around me. Jake. You are something. 2 years. Athena moved out of that broken-down little office and into a glass tower downtown. 2-man crew became 60 plus. A demo nobody cared about became a dark horse social app with 10 million downloads. Marvin liked saying our luck was strapped to a rocket. I'd just smile at it. Wasn't luck. 700-something nights of grinding. He ground code. I ground decks. Sophie ground soup. Yeah. Sophie. Same as always. She'd swing by the office every few days with food. It wasn't her mother's soup anymore. It was hers. She'd gone from carbonizing pork ribs to producing something that tasted like home. In 2 years she'd graduated from instant noodle officer to half a cook. The cost, kitchen fire 3 times. 5 new pots. Athena cut through the field on one tired phrase. Soul matching. Every other social app was teaching people how to hook up faster. We taught people how to talk slower. Everyone else was running algorithms on the prettiest faces. We ran ours on the most compatible inner lives. At first the internet roasted us. Pretentious. Holier than thou. Then the users stayed. Because people are lonely. The hookup makes you lonelier. The face flipping leaves you emptier. The thing that actually settles you is finding someone you can talk to. Leo got it right. The deepest pain in the social space wasn't a lack of choices. It was being lonelier after choosing. That's what Athena solved. Series C closed. Valuation north of $1 billion. I held the cap table for a long time. The kid who'd lied about his pregnant wife to dodge a $40 ticket was now sitting on more money than a lifetime needed. I still drove the Civic. Sophie kept asking why I wouldn't trade up. I said this car saw how we started. I couldn't part with it. She called me sentimental out loud. The smile in her eyes called me something else. We added her name to the deed last winter. I took her to see the place. Most expensive floor downtown. 2,600 square feet. River through the floor-to-ceiling glass. She stood at the window a long time. Turned around. How much is this? Your name on it. Not much. She held it for 3 seconds. Eyes going red. Then she punched my chest. Jake. Be serious for once. I didn't dodge. Pulled her in. Took the deed I'd had ready in my pocket. Flipped to the co-owner page. Sophie Shin. Right next to my name. She stared at the 2 characters a long time. Long enough that I thought she was about to say something soft. Then she looked up. How long does the deed take to process? 2. 3 months. Then we wait on the wedding till the paperwork's done. Otherwise it's not in order. I cracked up. This girl. Always running on her own logic. Wedding got set for spring. Linda's call. Said spring weddings were lucky. Things start growing. Good for grandchildren. She'd softened a lot in 2 years. Still slipped into the I knew Jake wasn't reliable from day one line every now and then. The vinegar was gone from it. Sometimes she'd ask Sophie unprompted. Was I busy? Was I tired? Was my stomach acting up again? After the showdown at the precinct. She went quiet for a long stretch. Professor Shin told me later she'd come home that night and sat on the couch staring at nothing for the whole afternoon. Skipped dinner. Next day. The temperature shifted. I couldn't tell if it was the Audi. Or the CEO on the card. Or the 5-year line finally landing. Probably all of it. Probably none of it. Mothers. In the end. Are afraid of one thing, their daughter getting the short end. Prove she didn't. And they're happier than anyone. She owned the wedding planning. Venue. Menu. Officiant. Cars. Everything had to come through her. Sophie complained to me a few times. I told her, let your mother run with it. Busy. She's not nagging about other things. Sophie thought about it. Let it go. And then Linda overdid it. Last month, sudden appendicitis. Middle of the night. ER. Sophie called me with her voice shaking. I drove over and got her. Straight to the hospital. Linda was on the bed. Bone white. She still managed, what are you doing here? It's not a big deal. I didn't answer. Went straight to the attending. Came back. Told her, surgery's first thing tomorrow morning. Best surgeon in the building. Rest easy. She blinked. The good ones don't have a wait. Not for us. I have a friend at the hospital. That friend was Marcus. Funny how it shook out. Marcus is the deputy director of Municipal 3rd now. Promoted last year. The way I'd embarrassed him at that table. I figured he carried a grudge. Then we hit the same dinner one night and he came over to pour me a glass. I knew you weren't an ordinary one back then, Mr. Jiang. I told him he was being kind. I'd been young and dumb. He smiled. A little wake-up call young is a useful thing. A few rounds in. We'd settled into nodding acquaintance territory. Linda's surgery, I called him. He made it happen. No second word. Came by the room himself once. Linda's face when she saw him. A whole show. Embarrassment. Shame. A little guilt. Marcus was easy about it. Called her Mrs. Shen. Told her to rest up. Said reach out anytime. On the way out he clapped my shoulder. Look at you, Jake. Even the mother-in-law's in your corner now. I didn't say anything. Some scores you don't have to settle on a schedule. Time figures it out. Day Linda got discharged. I picked her up. She rode in the back. Quiet the whole way. Almost home. She opened up. Jake. The last few years, thank you. I caught her eyes in the rearview. She was looking out the window. Face turned away. It's nothing, Mrs. Shen. I'm not talking about today's ride. The years. Sophie's stubborn. Got that from me. You put up with her. I see it. I smiled. Sophie's good. I came out ahead. She held the silence. The way I talked back then. Don't carry it. It was for her sake. I get it. She didn't say anything else. When she got out at her building, she pulled a red envelope out of her bag and pushed it at me. I opened it. Bank card. For the two of you. House. Wedding. I can't help much. Use this for whatever you need. I tried to push it back. She pushed it back at me. Eyes red. She's my only daughter. You two being well, that's the only thing I want. That night I told Sophie. She sat with it for a while. Came out with, first time in her life she's backed down. Not backing down. I said. A mother who finally believes her kid is going to be okay. She rested her head on my shoulder. Thank you, Jake. Don't thank me. She's our mother. She laughed. Laughed until tears came down. A week before the wedding. Something happened. Sophie said her stomach hurt. I took her in. 2-hour wait. Result came back. Pregnant. 7 weeks. She was holding the slip with shaking hands. I asked what was wrong. Wasn't she happy? It's not that. It's too sudden. I'm not ready. Ready for what? The kid's coming. We're not exactly going hungry. She looked up. Eyes red. You're really happy? What kind of question is that? Jake Jong's about to be a dad. Of course I'm happy. She sat with that for a beat. Then laughed. Laughed until she was crying. I held her. Hospital corridor traffic flowing around us. We looked like idiots. Didn't matter. On the way home she asked me out of nowhere, you remember the first thing you ever said to me? Yeah. My wife's about to give birth. Now she actually is. Lied then. True now. She laughed. That's the one thing in your life that went from fake to real. Worth it. Wedding day. Whether you don't get in this city. Sophie came out in the white dress. I forgot to breathe. Marvin elbowed me. Hey. Inhale. Man. That's when I noticed I'd been holding it. Ceremony was simple. No MC. I ran it. Stood up there. Faced the room. Faced her. Faced Linda and the professor wiping their eyes in the front row. And said this? 2 years ago in this city. I was a kid who lied his way out of a $40 ticket. I never thought I'd be standing here. Suit on. Marrying someone like her. Not because I wasn't worth it. I just hadn't let myself think it. Then I met her. And I let myself. I wanted to give her the best life I could. I wanted to prove I deserved her. I wanted her mother to be at peace handing her over to me. Standing here. Today, I want to say all of those got done. Sophie. Thank you for trusting me. The rest of my life is for paying that back. People clapped. People cried. Sophie was across from me. Eyes wet. Holding it. When I finished. She leaned in. Why didn't you tell me you were giving a speech? It's only real if you say it on the spot. She laughed. Laughed and cried, and the tears finally fell. At the reception. Linda had too much to drink. Held my hand. Talked. From the first time we met all the way to now. How she'd hated the look of me. Smooth talker. No spine. How watching me cook for Sophie. Work late. Pull all-nighters. Slowly turned the picture. How she'd actually believed it the day I called Marcus for her surgery. That son-in-law. He'll do. I let her run. At the end she said. Jake. Whatever I said back then. Don't keep it. I know. Mrs. Shen. Your tongue's sharp because Sophie is. She got it from you. She blinked. Then she laughed. Mid-laugh she stopped. Wait. No. Sophie didn't get the sharp tongue from me. She got it from her father. The whole table broke up. The professor was holding his glass. Looking innocent. Late. Guests gone. Sophie and I were sitting at the floor-to-ceiling window of the new place. Looking out at the city. She tucked into my shoulder. Jake. Will it always be like this? Like what? Like, good. The two of us. Yeah. She held the quiet. Then. That traffic cop. You remember her? Which one? She pinched me. The one. The one you scammed. I laughed. Yeah. What about her? If she'd known you were going to marry her. Would she have regretted letting you go that day? She wouldn't. Why not? Because that day she didn't let a violator off. She let her future husband go. She sat with it. Then laughed. Mid-laugh she winced and pressed her stomach. I jumped. What? Nothing. Your son just kicked me. How do you know it's a son? A daughter wouldn't be this rowdy. What if it's a daughter? She thought. A daughter's fine too. She'd take after me. Wouldn't take any. I looked at the line of her face. The slight curve of her belly. The lights of the city outside. I thought about that afternoon 2 years ago. Standing in front of a traffic cop. Telling her my wife was about to give birth. You couldn't have told me back then that line would come true. I leaned over to her ear. Sophie. Thank you. For what? For letting me go that day. She held it for a second. Then smiled. Soft. Light. Spring wind soft. Don't mention it. Next life, you're the cop. I'll run a light. You'll let me off. Deal. Outside. The night was easy. Inside. The years were settled. I pulled her in. Laid my hand on her stomach. The small life moved under it. One small knock. Then another. Like it was knocking on a door. That. I knew. Was our future. Knocking. 3 months after the wedding. Sophie gave birth. A girl. 6 pounds. 10 ounces. Loud cry. When the nurse brought her out. Her face was scrunched into a tiny old man's. I stood there. Couldn't bring myself to reach. Sophie was on the bed. Pale. Smiling at me. What are you waiting for? Your daughter. That's when I took her. Holding that small soft thing. My brain went blank. 2 years ago. The jerk standing in front of a traffic cop lying about his pregnant wife, actually a father now. This wrinkled little thing in my arms. My daughter. Jake Jong's daughter. Linda was crying off to the side and muttering through it. Looks like Sophie. The eyes are Sophie's. The professor was happily taking photos. Sending them to every relative he had. Marvin had shown up too. Standing in the hallway hooting. Holy crap. Jake. You actually did it. You're a dad. The whole hospital floor was a mess. I crouched by Sophie's bed. The baby in my arms. Thank you. She smiled. Didn't say anything. Eyes red. We named her Nyen. Sophie picked it. I asked what it meant. It means remember. Remember how we started. Remember the hard parts. Okay. Nyen. After Nyen came home. The apartment turned into a different planet. Linda moved in to help. Days and nights. Lost 10 pounds in a month. I tried to talk her into a hired night nurse. She wouldn't hear it. I don't trust someone else with the baby. She's mine. I'm happy doing it. She still had the same hard mouth. But when she had Nyen in her arms, the softness in her eyes wasn't hiding from anyone. The half-year Sophie was on maternity leave. I pushed work as far back as I could. Came home. Baby first. Wife second. When I worked late, Sophie would send a photo. Nyen asleep. Fist still curled. I'd stare at it for a long time. Then go back to the deck. The meetings. The inbox. Athena was at the cliff that year. 30 million users. Competitors copying our core features. Marvin was living in the server room tuning the algorithm. I was living with the team polishing the product. For an entire year. Marvin and I saw each other more than we saw our wives. One time Sophie asked, pushing this hard. Worth it? Worth it. So our daughter can do whatever she wants. So she never has to lie to a cop over a $40 ticket. Quiet for a beat. You still think about that? Couldn't forget it if I tried. That's where we started. Nyen's first birthday. I gave her a present. Not a toy. Not clothes. A share transfer document. 5% of Athena. In her name. Sophie read it. Stared at me a full 30 seconds. Are you crazy? Not crazy. It's her dowry. When she gets married, she doesn't have to look at anyone sideways. Sophie's eyes went red. She held Nyen and whispered to her. Nyen. Your dad's an idiot. Nyen didn't follow. Just laughed. Linda had been watching. Quiet. Then. Jake. I had you wrong all those years. You didn't. Mrs. Shen. You were looking out for her. It's not that. I used to think a man needed money. Status. A name on a door. So she wouldn't suffer. It took me a long time to learn. The man with all that doesn't always treat you well. The man without it doesn't always treat you bad. How you treat Sophie. How you treat Nyen. I see it. I smiled. Didn't answer. Some things don't need an answer. Time says them eventually. Summer of Nyen's second year. I took the two of them to the coast. First real trip with Sophie. We'd been married 2 years and never even gotten a honeymoon, her job. My company. Made it up here. Beach hotel. Nyen running on the sand. Sophie chasing her. I was on a deck chair watching them. I was suddenly sure my life had been worth it. That night. Nyan asleep. We sat on the balcony with the sea wind. Sophie leaning into my shoulder. Jake. Remember the first time we met? Yeah. Uniform. Ponytail. Eyes like blades. She laughed. I knew you were trouble. And now? Now you're trouble. The husband kind. I laughed. Then she said, I almost wrote that ticket. You know. What changed your mind? The way you looked. Nervous. Scared. But also serious. I was thinking, if a guy can act this hard to dodge a ticket. What if it's actually real? What if his wife really is waiting? A pause. I made a bet. You won. Yeah. I won. The wind came up off the water. Salt in it. Lights in the distance, couldn't tell fishing boats from stars. I tightened my hand around hers. Didn't say anything else. The year Nyen turned 3. Athena went public. Bell ringing day. I brought Sophie and Nyen. Nyen in a little dress. Eyes wide in the exchanges hall. Marvin teasing her, Nyen. Know what this place is for? Head shake. This is where your dad's money turns into more money. Head shake again. Sophie picked her up. Smiling. Don't listen to Uncle Marvin. This is where your dad's dream came true. Nyen seemed to register that. Waved a small hand at me. In that second. My eyes went hot. Not for the money. For the years before. For the nights writing code till 4 a.m. For the days getting no from investors. For all the soup Linda had carried over. For the hand warmers Sophie had quietly left on my desk. For the woman who'd believed me from the start. For this house that had more people in it every year. After the IPO. The interviews multiplied. A reporter asked me what the secret to a successful startup was. I said, luck. Met the right people. Who counts as the right people? People who believe you. Who wait for you. Who don't mind that you're broke or that you're losing. He smiled. You mean your wife? I smiled back. Yes. And my co-founder. And my daughter. And my mother-in-law. He looked thrown. I went on. A startup isn't a one-man thing. Without them I'd still be a PM somewhere. Waiting for payday. They're the ones who let me dare. Dare to want it. Dare to fight. Dare to bet. Comments section blew up after that piece ran. Some called it humble bragging. Some called it gratuitous. Some said, Jake. You wrote your mother-in-law into the gratitude list. You're something. Sophie cracked up reading it. Then asked me, were you actually scared of my mom? Yeah. Scared. Had to go anyway. Why? Because you were on the other side of her. She held it for a second. Then leaned in. Nyan was on the rug with her blocks. She looked up. Glanced at us. Looked back down at her blocks. She'd long since given up on her parents being normal in public. Spring festival this year. The whole family came together. Linda made enough food for a banquet. The professor was on sous chef duty. Marvin and I were on the rug with Nyen and her blocks. Sophie was helping in the kitchen. And the kitchen kept producing audio. Mom. The fish is too salty. No, it's not. You're too picky. Try it yourself. Don't have to. I cooked it. I know what it is. Nyen looked up. Are Grandma and Mom fighting? They're not fighting. They're talking. She nodded like that made sense. Marvin under his breath, your daughter's smarter than you. Shut up. At dinner. Linda raised her glass. Said she had something to say. Whole table waiting. She held it for a long beat. Finally. The thing I owe Sophie most in this life, I owe a lot to her. The best thing I did in this life, was pushing her toward Jake. I froze. Didn't expect that one. Sophie's eyes went red. Head down. I lifted my glass. Mrs. Shin. Don't. Without you. None of this exists. She waved it off. All right. All right. Enough mush. Eat. Loud. Warm dinner. Nian fell asleep on the couch. Cheeks pink. Sophie laid a blanket on her. Quiet hands. Outside. Someone was setting off fireworks. They opened one by one. Color landing on the glass. Sophie came back over. Tucked into my shoulder. Jake. Thank you. For what? For lying back then. I laughed. So did she. Late. Nian was in her room. Linda and the professor had gone to bed. Just us in the living room. The TV was rerunning the New Year's gala. Nobody was watching it. Sophie was scrolling her camera roll. She stopped on one and held it out. A photo of the ticket. The traffic violation that started it. Sophie had taken a picture at some point. The plate. The location. The timestamp. All clean. Why'd you save this? For the museum. So when you make it, you can look back. This guy. $40 once made him put on a whole show. I was actually broke. Not anymore. Still am. All I've got left is you guys. She held the line. Then leaned over and kissed my cheek. I turned. Her eyes had that shine. Same one as that night a long time back. Jake. The luckiest thing I ever did was not write you that ticket. The biggest lie of my life is you. What does that mean? I said my wife was about to give birth. That was a lie. Now it's true. She didn't answer. Tucked her head into my chest. Outside. The fireworks kept going. One after the next. Lighting up the city. I held her. Watching the sky outside. I thought about that afternoon a long time ago. Standing in front of a traffic cop. Heart in my throat. Palms wet. Mouth running the biggest lie of my life. I had no idea then that the lie would carry me here. Carry me to her. Carry us into this family. When Nian turned 5. I drove them back to the road. The road we'd met on. Same intersection. Same lights. Just, the woman in the uniform from back then was riding shotgun now. The driver who'd run the violation was at the wheel. And the child I'd invented out of thin air was in the back seat. For real. Nian pressed her face to the window. Daddy. Where is this? This is where your mom and I met for the first time. She turned to Sophie. Really? Sophie smiled. Really? Your dad lied to me right here. Nian's eyes went huge. Daddy lies? Yeah. Daddy lies. Lied his way to your mom. Lied his way to you. She thought it over. Serious face. So is Daddy a good guy or a bad guy? Sophie and I looked at each other. Sophie said, your dad is a good guy. The kind of good guy who tells the truth using lies. Nian didn't get it. She nodded anyway. I started the car. Kept driving. In the rear view. The intersection got smaller. Then a dot. Then gone. I knew that place. I'd know it for the rest of my life. That night after Nian was asleep. Sophie asked me, Jake. If you got to choose again. Would you tell that lie? Yes. Why? Because that lie got me to you. She held it. You didn't know it would lead to me. Right. Some things, you don't do them because you know how they end. You do them. Then they end. She didn't answer. Just watched me. Back then I had nothing. No car. No place. No future. Just my mouth. But I was willing to bet. Bet that the cop would soften. Bet I could earn my way out of that life. Bet that one day I could stand in front of her without lying. I won. She went red. Came over. Held me. Moonlight at the window. Soft. I held her. Thought about the night I drove her home for the first time. The light kiss on her forehead. I thought it was a beginning. Turns out it wasn't a beginning. It was a continuation. From the lie. To here. To whatever's after this. When Nyen was 6. I took her to the precinct. Not for anything. Just a visit. I wanted her to see where her mom worked. Sophie came out in uniform. Same energy as the day we met. Nyen ran at her, "Mommy looks awesome." Sophie laughed. Picked her up. Glanced at me. Want to come in? Pass. Don't want a ticket. She rolled her eyes. Smiled. Walking out. Nyen said, "Daddy. Mommy's job is so cool." Yeah. Your mom's a cop. She catches bad guys. Were you a bad guy? Once. And now? Good guy. Your mom rehabilitated me. She nodded like she understood. In the car she said, "Daddy. I want to be a cop too." Why? So I can catch people who lie. I laughed. Sophie laughed. Okay. Then study hard. Be a good cop. Daddy. Are you going to lie still? No. Because your mom would arrest me. She nodded. Satisfied. That night Sophie asked, "What do you think about Nyen wanting to be a cop?" Good. She'll inherit yours. You don't want her to take over the company? She can do whatever she wants. That's the whole point of grinding all those years. So she gets a choice. She held me with her eyes for a long time. Then leaned over to my ear. Jake. You really are something. I smiled. Didn't say anything. Moonlight on her face. Same softness as a long time ago. I thought of a line. Some people spend a life patching one lie. Some people spend a life patching one dream. I didn't know which one I was patching. What I knew was, this woman in my arms was worth a life. Nyen 7. We took a family photo. Linda in the middle holding Nyen. The professor next to her. Wrinkles all the way up. Sophie and me behind them. Fingers interlaced. Nyen in the front row throwing a peace sign. Photographer counted. 1, 2, 3. Click. A moment. Kept. In the car on the way home. Nyen asked, "Mom. Are we going to do this every year?" Every year. Until when? Sophie looked at me. Smiled. Until we can't. Nyen thought. Serious. Then I'll bring my own kids and do it too. Okay. Whole house full of us by then. She laughed. Eyes into half moons. I was driving. Watching them in the rearview. Something I couldn't name was rising up in my chest. That afternoon a long time ago, standing at an intersection. Telling a lie, I had no way of knowing this. No way of knowing the cop I conned would become my wife. No way of knowing the kid I'd made up would actually end up in the back seat. Life is unpredictable. But sometimes. Looking back. Every step was exactly where it needed to be. That night. Nyen asleep. Sophie tucked into my shoulder. Going through the camera roll. She landed on the family photo. Stayed there. Jake. What do you think we'll be like when we're old? Old. Huh. Nyen should be a mom by then. We should have grandkids. Your mother should still be sharp-mouthed and complaining about us every day. She laughed. Can't you imagine something nicer? That is nicer. Complaining means we're still around. Bickering means everyone's still here. She held the quiet. Then we live well. Yeah. Live well. Moonlight. Same as ever. Soft. A line in my head. The best lie is one you spend a life redeeming. The best promise is one you spend a life keeping. I looked down. She was asleep. Breath light. A small smile at the corner of her mouth. I pulled her closer. Outside. The night was easy. Inside. The years were settled. The biggest lie of my life had become the truest fact of my life. Someone asked me later, Jake. What's the biggest lie you've ever told? I told one. Worked it out. How? I smiled. Tapped the lock screen, a smiling woman. And a small girl beside her with a peace sign. Worked it out with them. He held it. Then laughed. He probably didn't get it. That's all right. I get it. That's enough.